Welcome back, everybody. This is the ESL Quake Go4 Finals, where we've just had Europe, and it was Maestro CEST taking that title for this month. And as you know by now, it's time for our North American action as well. My name is Ketchup, and I'm joined on the desk by Lethal. Now, we have a new mix of teams. Some you've seen before, some you might not be, I'm not saying not as familiar with, but, you know, definitely it's not going to be, I think, our traditional Go4, where it is a set of the same teams. North America tended to lend itself a bit more to, I guess, repetition in the Go4s, and that definitely changes today for a variety of different reasons. We have the bracket to show you guys what our competition's going to be. Ascent versus Drafsa. I have to get that right throughout the course of the day. I don't know why I might struggle with that one. Temp B versus Waz and Chain. Now, lineup-wise, we have Ascent, which is Brick, Death Row, and G-Nick, or Gnick. I'm really sorry if I've mispronounced it. I'm really bad with that kind of thing. And then Drasva, which you might expect, is Dromis and Nosfer. So it's actually going to be some LATAM representation here today as well, obviously Nosfer being from Brazil. We have Temp B, which is actually Dahang and Dewey. It's not going to be Team Liquid this time. Rafa currently is actually traveling to Europe for PGL, the dual LAN that will be taking place, and he's currently traveling there now. Whilst, as far as I'm aware, I do actually believe Dahang and Dewey will be traveling to PGL. They're playing in this Go4 first, whereas Rafa is already traveling out there, hence this mishmash in team players. And then finally, Chain and Waz. I mean, I don't even need to explain who's in that roster. It's Chain and Waz, come on. Yeah, so game number 1, Ascent versus Drasva. Hard to say. I will admit we haven't really seen a huge amount of Nosfer in the 2v2. You know, we saw him do really well in duel. I think, you know, one of Nosfer's sort of big pieces of representation was DreamHack Winter. You know, we saw DreamHack Winter last year where he qualified dominantly from the South American part of the world and really actually took it to Cypher. He actually had Cypher in his group stages, and he more than held his own. He more than held his own. So he had kind of left that tournament, I think, feeling good about himself, that he was kind of within that level of play. And he's had an entire year to continue to take part in his own tournaments in his local area or anything that he can get his hands on. So we get to see him in the Go4. Excited, personally, to see what he can do with Dramas.
Yeah, of course, with Dahang and Dewey, that's a very interesting one. Of course, you've already explained why, which is the situation. I suppose Dewey's probably thinking to himself, it'd be nice to play with him rather than against him. Of course, you'd rather play with him. I think anyone would, concerning the circumstances. So he may even be able to learn a bit in terms of Dahang's style and how it may complement Rafa in their previous 2v2s and how he actually plays. So Dewey will probably learn a lot from this, considering now it's in a tournament environment, what the circumstances are like and how Dahang plays in this. So I think it's going to help them both in some ways. But of course, I think we're going to say they are quite heavy favourites going into this. But we said that about the CIS team in the East side last time, and it was very, very close. But we'll have to see how these next series go on. But of course, with this first one, I think it would be pretty good to see exactly how both his teams actually play.
Yeah, we have quite a lot to talk about with these two teams. Ascent, an org that has been around for a while. Those of you that, I have no doubt a bunch of you follow some of our players on Twitter and other social medias. You may have noticed that Brick has recently been acquired by Ascent as well. And that's actually a really big deal for Brick. Brick has always been known as predominantly a team player in Quake, especially in Quake Champions, where he's been part of almost, you know, as long as Sacrifice was there, Brick was taking part in Sacrifice. And in 2v2, we were seeing Brick in 2v2 as well. It all kind of feeds into the game, the kind of game style that Brick likes to play. So I'm first of all glad, congratulations for being picked up by Ascent, and hopefully we can see good things from you today. Now, Dramas, another sort of dedicated player, does pretty well. You know, he does really well in, I believe it was Jahar's Tasty Cups we've been seeing Dramas take part in, where he's been seeing his share of, sort of like high placements, if memory serves me correctly. So seeing the combination of Nosfer and Dramis, I know they do sort of play together on a slightly different server, given the sheer distance that is between these two players. But I was sort of following Nosfer's social media. He's pretty happy with their progress. He's happy with how far they've been going. So I think this Go4 is going to be a great test for both Ascent and someone like Brick, for example, who is new to the lineup, and then Dramis and Nosfer, who has, as of recently, been playing together for 2v2 tournaments. So for both of these teams, it's going to be a nice test. We have the maps and the champion bans. Let's take a look. Ranger banned after what we saw in Europe. That does not surprise me at all. And Galena removed. Blood Covenant, first map, Corrupted Keep, and then Awoken. These are our 3 picks. Lethal, what do you think?
Well, with those champion bans, these are the more of the standard bans I kind of expected. And with, of course, the Ranger being banned, the amount of die-offs we saw, especially from Silent Sep in that other series on the East side, I completely understand that. Completely fair enough. We've seen so much of our all being played to full potential every single time. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But talking the maps as well, of course, you can see Ascent have gone with Blood Covenant, and of course, Draspa there. Just managed to actually say that to myself. It's quite to keep, but Ready Woken is the mid pick. So I'd probably say quite standard picks here. I'm a little bit surprised not to see too much blood run here, but Molten Fall's been banned. I'm not too surprised, of course, with Tempest Shrine, of course. It's not been fully exploited yet, in my opinion. But in terms of the bans and the map picks, pretty standard, I'd probably say, especially on the NA side. I
think so. We see Corrupted Keep and Awoken picked just so consistently in 2v2 now. So many picks in the game kind of complement that. I think there are so many champs that in these close quarters environments are really hard to deal with. And if you understand that you yourself are a really sick player and you're really talented, and you have the combat skill that is above the average competition, you know that when you go on a small map, it's in your favor. You're going to be taking these fights, and if you have better rockets, if you have better LG, just chuck an ability on top that does massive damage as well, and you're probably going to beat that person in a 1v1, or even 2v1 in some of these instances. It can get pretty ridiculous and pretty ugly pretty quickly. But, I assume Blood Covenant is going to be our first map, and it is indeed. Draspa versus Ascent. We'll see how this one goes. The difference in lineup, we can see a visor on both sides, but the damage output is coming in a couple of different ways. We can see Draspa has the BJ, and then Ascent have the Death Knight again.
Yeah, I love how the meta on the NA side in terms of the champion picks is still quite more different. Of course, we do see a Death Knight and a Visor, two very good picks in my opinion. Visor can be, a hit and miss depending on how aggressive you play, and depends on your play style, how you want to do things. But we'll have to see you go from there. But of course, Jamis, my boy from the Halo background as well, and I'm gonna see if he wrecks me up a little bit, but if he loses, I'll definitely be having a go at him in some ways, more of a way than another.
Well, just because you said that, I've observed Dramus. There we go.
Depending how his style is, but hopefully he'll bring that aggression from there anyway. But
I'm pretty sure Dramus had Ermac in his Twitter cover photos. That's both of our worlds, mate. Both of our worlds.
Yeah, you said that as well. Yeah, so from both
the man of many environments.
What's he not played? This is the next question, of course, but we'll have to see how he does from here. So, of course, a little bit of slow start from both teams. Of course, it's only 2-2, but they've been playing a little bit passive, just trying to feel each other out exactly what's going on. But as you can see, Ascent now's got the much bigger stack, and just like that, Defro managed to take him out very nicely there. Managed to get that Mega anyway, but we can see how much difference that's going to make. But fantastic teamwork by those guys there on Draspa there.
A lot more patient play, I think, which I'm kind of, I agree with. There's a lot more sticking together. That's one of the main things I think we're immediately observing from these two teams, is that they're more consistently. And actually, what a spawn for Death Row! Literally respawning with the enemy in his line of sight. Brick just sitting there saying, hey mate, finish him off, yeah? All right.
Yeah, because Nospa was only on 11 HP, and he was on that heavy for such a long time. And I can only assume that they didn't actually know he was weak, because there's so many hectic situations happening at the time. Didn't really know, but Brick stays up on 3 HP, but doesn't get that quad anyway. Dramis managed to get 2 tasty kills of his own with the quad to complement that as well. So this is his perfect opportunity to help Draspa's team to try and increase their lead, but with the heavy now with a nice little stack of his own, it's going to be very, very difficult, and he's going to be playing the runaway game, of course, on the Ascent side to see if Dramis can try and capitalize with his quad.
I can only assume that Brick miscalculated when Heavy was going to spawn there. He was kind of heading towards it as if it hadn't been taken. Unfortunately, that was a miscalculation of both not really understanding when the Heavy was going to spawn at that time, and also understanding that they were going to go for it because they had access to power up. Why not?
Yeah, this is it. Dramis with another double of his own, but Nosfa does get traded off in the end. But of course, even after that fight, Draspa's got, both members got very good stack here, but Ascent is so weak at this stage. Brick is just trying to stay alive or try and help in any way, shape or form, but he's only on 50 HP. But Dramis, of course, is going to try and inch for that double, but gets cleaned up by Nosfa anyway. So great teamwork by these guys. A little bit slower compared to some of the EU teams I've seen, but this is only the first game in the first series, so of course it's something we do expect.
Also, if you're in North America, early morning games right now. This is morning matches. You know,
just woken up.
Just woken up, not even had a cup of coffee yet, and then you got to play in your tournament.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened in the first series of those couple of games on the EU side. But of course, yeah, like you said, they've had their brekkie, so they're ready to actually get things going. But in this first game, of course, we will see a little bit of a slow start, and then it'll get a lot more aggressive and a lot more teamwork orientated from there. But that Mega has popped, but no one's actually picked up as of yet. Maybe they're just delaying it a little bit further, but there's not really much of a need to, but it's still there. I don't think either team actually know it's there. They've just made the assumption that it's been picked up already. It's been up for at least good 10 or 15 seconds, still up even now. So I can only make the assumption that both teams assume it's already been picked up already, but finally Nosfa, after about 20 seconds, being picked up. Very uncharismatic from both teams, but very easy to make that assumption. When you're at this tier of play, normally you expect to get picked up within the 2-3 second mark. But when Nosford picked up, he probably thought, oh, there we go, a free little mega there for himself.
Either way, we'll check out Death Row and see if he's able to capitalize on this protection. You know, he's actually looking in a pretty good state. I believe that's, yeah, Nosford, very, very weak indeed. He's been kind of sort of surviving here and there, but yeah, they're trying to sort of play that runaway game against Death Row. And protection versus Flame Strike, that's the danger. The second you get put within that close range, that's the unsurvivable situation Death Knight can put you in. Now, that's why he had the damage reduced on his ability. That's why there's a longer cooldown on there too. You know, it was pretty insane beforehand, and obviously, you know, adjustments were made accordingly, and it's definitely for the better.
Yeah, sometimes balance changes are necessary, but that one was definitely 100%, because with that cooldown as well, it does so much damage anyway. The cooldown was definitely necessary, and even to balance the damage was also needed. So that was definitely the right motive to have in this retrospect. But the good thing is they balanced it enough so that Death Knight is still a very, very good champion to use, and they haven't nerfed it enough so that it gets to a point where it's like not really a valid champion, but to a point where it's actually good enough to still use. And you can see it's a very, very good champion and to that respect. But I can see, like, you know, with that Flame Strike, he's already made good use of it a couple of times there, even now. And you know, it's great to see. I wasn't really too sure how it would work on Blood Covenant, or especially on this map, but it seems to be working very well.
It does work very similar to a Sorlag spit as well. You know, the damage over time on spawn, even if you get the Flame Strike and then you die, you respawn, you can see their damage numbers as they're continuing to take the damage over time. So, you know, you're somewhat rewarded by at least a little bit of knowledge. You know, map awareness and all that, which can be really important. 20 seconds away from quad damage to spawn. It's been a very slow and calculated match, I think you could say at this point.
Yeah, calculated is definitely the right motive. You know, they're not hesitating. It's just the fact that they haven't found an opening for both these teams to trying to capitalise on certain situations here and there. But finally they do. Sadly, Nosford just managed to get taken out, and they can easily try and clean up here. But of course, I don't think Defo had an opportunity to leave Jammers there and goes for Nosford. But this is technically a free quad for them now, and this is a great opportunity for both these guys to increase their lead, and I love this for them as well. They delayed the Mega enough, but not only that, gave it to Drummers, who does have that quad, rather than have to suicide and give it to his teammate. And this is another opportunity now to try and balance that Mega and heavy timing so that they can keep it for themselves the entire time. Keep, of course, the Ascent guys guessing on when it's going to be coming up, whenever it's going to be picked up, and just increase their lead further. So even though it's a bit of a slow start to begin with, they're finding their footing here.
Ooh, a nice little chunk of damage. Piercing sight by the end of the quad damage means that Dramus' presence can actually kind of continue. Normally the quad damage, the ability to just get one of those flick rails or whatever is a bit of a nightmare, but the second you can see where you are, it's going to allow him to have a little bit more presence than he did before. Very, very solid lead for Dramus. 9 kills in the lead at this point.
Yeah, they're being very cautious at the moment. Of course, that heavy is coming up in 8 seconds, but the Mega ain't coming up for a while, so they are trying to get into position, but Dramus is being held back a little bit, but using the piercing sight just to make sure, see if he has disappeared. Heavy has popped, but just making sure he's got complete clearance until he does pick up, which he does do now. That Mega will be coming up next, which has been picked up instantly. So now, things in terms of style, both teams are just trying to find an opening here and there just to see what they can find. Of course, Nosfer, like I said, playing from the LATAM scene, you did say, and it's kind of like a very similar situation with doing Garpy, was it, with their UKSA squad. I love that team, that UKSA squad, but it does show that ping doesn't matter too much in kind of the circumstances, and Nosfer's playing extremely well, and it's, you know, it makes you wonder how well he could do in a LAN environment if he was in duel or something like that, but I'm not really too sure what he's like as a dual player. Yeah,
Nosfer's definitely good at duel for sure. He was the player that looked, well, he most dominantly made it into Winter qualifier from South American qualifiers. And
yeah,
the big thing that he's been posting online is that he's remarked that playing under a more extreme ping has been difficult. You know, it's definitely been different, but he hasn't really sort of voiced any displeasure of it. You know, it's definitely something he can work around. And I mean, look at this right now. They're currently winning this map. Protection has been taken, of course, but Death Row finally able to secure a kill for it.
Well, this is it as well. Of course, you know, there is some latency, not latency issues, but obviously there's going to be latency problems for him in terms of like what he wants to do and how he wants to do things. May even change his gameplay just that little bit, but the fact that like people could be worried is the fact that if he's doing so well with, I don't know, for example, if he's connected to something on one of the US servers, I assume it would be over 150 plus. But
he's actually
we've seen Garpy do it.
He's mentioned it's about 100, if I remember right.
Oh, that's not too bad.
He tweeted about it a couple of days ago. He kind of remarked it about 100 ping or so.
But that's the thing, it's more of a mental game as well as the fact that you can easily get thrown off and go, oh, you know, it's a ping, and then start getting angry or a little bit annoyed about it. But as long as you've got a co mentality and you know that, like, when it comes to an offline environment, you move on to something like this, then he's in a good state. But hopefully he is one of those players, but it seems like it as well. If he's dealing with a ping that high and he's playing consistently, it's one of those things where it's nothing about adjusting, he's just used to it from the get-go when he first played this game.
I think we're definitely getting some information on these larger maps, at least with these two teams, opens itself up to much slower games, which is actually a different thing that we did see in EU earlier today. I'm actually very interested to see what happens if we go into a larger map. There's such a back and forth, neither team, there's a lot more content just kind of rotating the items a little bit, accepting the trades of the items. I take mega, you take heavy, you know, etc, etc. And no one's really overextending. They're not pushing too hard. That only happens, it only seems to be like big fights happening when one is forced via a power-up. All the time we seem to see a fight. Oh god, straight to the teleport.
Don't blame for going straight in. Does commit suicide anyway, but does get a lot of damage done, so Nosfer may hopefully be able to clean both players up. But you saw earlier, they were just trying to fight for that mega, but that's why they're trying to get some of these rails off here and there, get at least enough damage done, capitalize, get it, and then go. But as you see from there, they never had the opportunity, but now they do. They've got map control, and they've got the damage done, and they should be able to clean this kill up, but they do. Nosfer managed to get one up there. That mega's been up for at least 10 or 15 seconds, but they left it laying there for long as they could, just to keep him guessing for later on. But Nosfer with his quad now, easy potential for Drasper, the entire team, to increase that lead with that heavy now. They picked up the mega from early, and he still has that quad, so can at least get another 2 or 3 kills maybe if he plays cards right.
They're going to try and run away, but I think as long as you've got a rail, it's pretty hard to do that, you know, especially if you're against someone that can land those 6 shots. Oh, tries to get it, but not quite. Hang on a minute, Death Row just managed to get one. Unfortunate miss from Nosfer, in fact. Now, at this stage, though, even though we didn't see a lot of kills from that quad damage, the important thing is that Ascent didn't get it. That's the thing, because you're just going to consistently keep them behind. Such an easy way to get a comeback is to, you know, get power up, get kills, right? It's classic, but if they don't get it, then there's no advantage for them to take.
This is it, of course. In being in that kind of situation, it's very easy to get things a little bit out of control, but even with a 12 kill deficit. But they could have turned to 16, but they made the right play there. And of course, Dramis now just needs to try and stay alive as Nosfer flanks around, but it was just a little bit too late. And try and pin him, managed to anyway, and now that mega's going to come up. And of course, Dramis knows that heavy's going to come up as well, so they've got to decide whether they go for these, one of his megas on a heavy separately, or just go for one or the other. But it looks like they are going to try and help a little bit. I think Dramis realises that, yeah, I think it's time to leave that mega out, but in case Nosfer did actually pick up before we die, which would be fantastic. And with his heavy now, they've both got a very good stack here, and Ascent having a lot of trouble trying to find any kind of opening or try and get any damage done here.
It's definitely comparable to one of those slower games. You know, we're almost reaching that sort of time limit again, and there's 33 kills for the winning team. A very far cry, actually, from what we saw. Remember Corrupted Keep, Grand Finals of EU, where it was 6.5 minutes. That map was already finished. Almost double the time right now.
Yeah, that's literally Corrupted Keep. And
oh my god!
Sometimes it can be like that, but that was a perfect sample of that flame strike ability there. Doing a great job, but Brick with the protection now. This is the opportunity to try and make some kind of comeback, but they've got to do it quick because they haven't got much time left.
No, it's not on their side whatsoever. And look how far away they are on the map too. Brick, he's having to waste precious seconds just trying to take the mega. And, you know, part of me is wondering if it was more worth Brick trying to sort of push forward and collect some health along the way, allow Death Row to get the mega, and then maybe meet at a later date. You know, I'm not sure it was worth Brick sitting there. He takes out Nosfer, but look, they've traded it. They've traded it because Death Row didn't have the health or the stack to take the fight. Uh-oh. Oh, god.
You want to do. Sally did give up 40 HP there in some of his armor, but you know, these things don't happen. But you are right though. I think he took the risk because of the fact that he didn't actually know when the mega was coming up. Maybe he assumed it was about 5 seconds, but he waited for at least 10 or 15 there, and that could have been a good use of that protection. So yeah, you could say a little bit of a waste, and with the time being on his side as well, that doesn't help in the slightest. And as you can see now, of course, another SM member, of course, Death Row does get taken down, and it's just a matter of time really. It's going to be very short-lived, and this could just go all the way to the timer at this point.
I definitely would believe it. To be honest, it really is. Each kill was taking a significant amount of time to achieve. We're going to go back to Nosfer. I've been watching a fair amount of him, but he's been doing pretty well. Death Row gets another one. Actually going to check out this kill feed. Unfortunately, it looks like Brick's having quite a rough game here.
Yeah, not the best of games. It gets damage done, but sadly the cleanups have not been happening at all. But Nosfer's going absolutely crazy at the moment. His stat, I think it was 23 and 11 just before I checked, and just doing a fantastic job of just collapsing and cleaning up, and anything Dramis does, it just make sure that Nosfer's always there to pick apart, you know, kind of like the experts afterwards, and it's just done a fantastic job just making sure that they don't get any way from any scenario now. And of course, with the piercing sight, I'm not surprised Jamis is getting such good damage done, but Brick finally does get that kill. Still a 12 kill deficit, but it just might be a little bit too late here.
Saving the flame strike for the magic moment. That's the best way to go, as we now see the protection come forward. No, sorry, not protection, my bad. That's going to be quad damage, obviously. Brick now needs to make this one count. He kind of fell into the issue last time of waiting too long to get Mega, which didn't allow them to really get any sort of momentum shift. The danger Brick's going to have, he's having to chase. You know, they're running away and he's having to keep up with them because he doesn't have a rail. Like, not having a rail has been such an issue for him because they're just so free to run away. All he has is the heavy machine gun. And is Dramas even going to kill him? Oh, not quite. That would have been a disastrous way to go down.
Yeah, I would have called it quits then, basically. But we pretty much have done anyway. It's 10 kills apart, not too much time left now. And that quad, they really had to do something. But, you know, both members of the Drasford team have just done such a great job just keeping them at bay, keeping them away, and just keep them guessing the whole time. It's, when it comes to running away, fantastic job of it. And only 7 seconds left, and it's got to that point now they realise it's not an option. Over. And it is going to be game over. Yeah, that's going to be G.
Completely unwinnable. That's going to be 10 seconds left to go. Over 10 kills to try and come back from. Like, just, it's absolutely no way, Jose. So, either way, that is going to be Nosfer and Dramis taking that first map, but it was a long one. That was the first time I've had a timeout in a while, actually, in the Go4, if memory serves me right. It's almost always kill limit or close or whatever, but this one definitely slowed down to a slower pace. And a big part of that was, I think, no one sort of going in for those big moments. It kind of is what I talked about earlier, where the second we saw a big fight, it was pretty much at the power-up or nothing. And the power-up only has a fight there because the power-up kind of naturally forces a fight, rather than you naturally kind of leading into one.
Yeah, it's just a lot more faster paced compared to Dramis and Nosfer. Nosfer was always there to clean up every single time, and with Dramis' piercing sight, he was always getting damage done every single time and call out where she should be going, how she thinks is getting done. But to go like that KD with a ping of 150 against some of the top NA players, that's pretty disgusting to say the least. And you know, his aim seems to be on point, his movement seems to be very good. He's a very fast-paced player, but of course, with Dramis trying to be on the front line to try and cause these fights to start and get some of the action going. Obviously, Nosfer needs to kind of like stabilise and wait for a little bit. That's why some of the times you'd see a complete stalemate in terms of the positions of the Mega and Heavy, depending on the situation, how it goes. And suddenly they have to just like progress and try and collapse as fast as they could. So did see a bit of hit and miss there in kind of those circumstances, but you know, they managed to get there in the end anyway. And I think they had such a good enough kill lead, they knew they just had to try and keep them at bay until that time limit runs out.
It's very similar to what I mentioned before the series began, was that for these two teams, this is kind of like almost like an initiation of sorts. Initiation of sorts is what I was trying to say. It's so easy to get tongue twisted. But essentially, when you kind of look at the fact that Brick has just recently been picked up by Ascent, you know, they've been around for a while, but with the new pickup there's always an element of feeling like you have something to prove. And then when you look at the fact that Dramis and Nosfer, as far as I've been able to tell, they haven't really been playing together as long as some of our other teams either. There's a lot of unfamiliarity here, and there's a lot of sort of, you know, new experiences for everyone. And they do lend themselves to, you know, if you haven't figured out your flow, or you've not quite got your mojo yet, it can take a while to get these things together. But I think, you know, these online tournaments, before we go into the, you know, the big lands and stuff like that, this is pretty much the prime example, or the prime environment to get that experience. You know, so we're only one map down, but the fact that it went to timeout really, really intrigues me. It was slow until the last minute. No one was pushing, no one kind of realized, hey, running out of time, let's try and play this a little bit faster. We're now transitioning into a smaller map, which makes me feel like it's not going to be their choice now. Whenever you go on these tiny maps, you almost, is it impossible to have a timeout on a map like Awoken? Because it's like, there's a fight. Whether you like it or not, there's going to be a fight.
Oh,
You've got to make sure you're ready for it, you win it, and then you don't die immediately. Getting the snowball effect can be harder than having a timeout on this kind of map.
What is it with most arena-based shooters as well? Like, Quake is like the perfect example to have. The best defense is a really good offense, and they're going to keep the pressure on the entire time. And if it's like a map like Awoken or Blood Run or anything like that, then it's going to happen. It's going to be in those kind of circumstances. So, try to keep. I can probably guarantee you're not going to see a timeout here. So, but hope for this kind of situation, because that's not what we want, of course.
Now, immediately, we actually see Keel for the first time today. Unfortunately, Death Throw pushing a little bit too heavy. And that's going to be quite a common mistake you might make on a small map like this. You kind of, oh, God. There it is. That's why Flame Strike is so good. That is why Flame Strike is so good.
And that's why I said it's so good on this map. Awoken, it's very good depending on certain parts on the map on Awoken, and Blood Run, it's just amazing, especially when it comes to contesting some of these heavies and the megas as well. But, you know, this map is just a prime example, especially like if you're flipping the map back and forth, and for example, they actually spawn on the LG side, you can use that part of the Flame Strike just to keep him at bay, just to keep him at night, keep him in check, you could say, with that aggression. Not just the aggression, but just the pressure of, you know, giving him less options to get away on any fault, shape or form. But it's just funny to see a Death Knight and a kill in this one map.
It's definitely the map for it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons we see Kill banned out so consistently, is because the area denial is something he does better than most champions in the game. You know, fresh off the spawn, you've always got to respect the fact that his pineapples, they hurt. And they hurt a lot. 75 damage per direct, and you have, you know, pretty much 5 grenades. That's a lot of damage that you output in a small space of time fresh off the spawn. As we sort of build up into this power-up, which is just about to spawn as well, you kind of worry about that a little bit. And
yeah.
I'm actually going to go and watch Brick and kind of see how he's managing those grenades and how much he's going to try and save going into our quad damage spawn. Yeah,
because only 20 seconds left, and both members of Jasper aren't really in a position to, just due to their stack, but I think getting that heavy really helped him out there. And of course, the last thing you want before quad spawn is to have a poor stack to try and at least contest it in any way, shape or form, but they're not in a good position at all. As you can see, Dramas has got literally no health at all. His stack was barely in existing, and now the quad's there, and Brick managed to take that, but I'm not surprised, because like I said before, Jasper, both members had barely had any stack, and now this is Brick's opportunity to keep flipping the map back and forth from the spawns and try and get as many kills as possible. There will be no Tom and Jerry situations here, I can tell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Brick went down near heavy, but he actually got the win. That was a better situation for him, because he didn't get a single kill, but he'd done so much damage with his grenades and with his LG that they weren't strong enough to take that fight, which allowed them to just effortlessly run in and collect the quad damage, because they had no resources to take the fight at all.
Well, they do get that quad, but the only thing is that there was barely any time in it anyway, so a little bit pointless, but at least managed to get a trade and take it down anyway.
Oh.
But Brick with another double of his own. I think Brick's been doing really well this last minute, just consistently just being a pain back and forth. He's, you know, barely had any deaths, but the thing is that he's been executing some of these collapses so well, but the only problem is that the fact that Brick is just trying to heat up a little bit just to keep himself alive for that next battle.
Now, as they have what resembles a lead, Nospa knocks him up into the air. That was so crucial, you know, because those the slight angle that you have to hit for those grenades, one sort of skew with rocket that knocks you in a small direction can throw off your entire aim. And those moments, you know, if he didn't knock him up into the air there, I have no doubt that grenade would have connected and actually killed him.
Well, this is it, and now Brick's been keeping tabs on that heavy very well the last minute and a half in. Just doing a fantastic job overall. He's been abusing Q's ult so many times, but look at that as well.
Nice.
Nospa just managed to take him anyway. Brick managed to get the trade off straight afterwards. Probably not what he wanted in terms of the trade, but at least he got something done anyway. And he's just trying to stay alive here, and he could get taken out, and he does. Very surprising it, considering how huge his stack was. But Nospa just got to try and get his stack back. Managed to get that Mega to help him out again and help Dramus with his next fight.
He's got the dual wield. Oh, he has to be so careful to try and dodge those grenades, but even as he tries, he just goes straight down. And how was that ring out? What happened?
I wasn't really too sure. I think it was just a glimpse I saw.
Oh, that must have just been,
sure
you know what I reckon that is? That might have been the way the game recognizes you doing a self-suicide after taking damage from the enemy. I wonder if it just classes it as a ring out.
That could have been a possibility. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And of course now, again, I think this is Ascent's second time. Yeah, because of course Brick had the quad and now he's got the protection. But even though, look at the kill gap. It's only 3 kills and they've had the second power up in a row. So
you know, when it goes back to what you were talking about you know, our previous semi-finals in EU, where you said they're in the lead, but you're surprised they're not more in the lead with the chips they've been dealt.
That's when I'm worried. Yeah. That's the way I'm really worried, because if you've got such an incredible advantage in terms of your utility you've got, like with the quad or protection, it makes you wonder, well, if they're getting these power-ups and they actually aren't abusing them as well, it worries you a little bit to a fact where you think, well, this is a bit of a worry here, because they should be at least 6 to 8 kills up. It doesn't matter how high or low tier the teams are, you should be increasing that lead massively. But even when I said that now, if you have a look, it's now only a 3 kill deficit, and it's going to be a little bit of a worry. It just shows that, of course, the pace on Jasper is a lot better, and the collapse is a lot more sick. But when you're seeing rockets like that, I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Dramus uses Flame Strike. Using it now, understanding that we have 50 seconds left until quad damage spawns. So if he uses it now, he can save it for a rainy day. You know, by the time that quad comes back, he is completely guaranteed that he's going to have the ability to go. Nospa too. I would be surprised if Nospa uses his dual wield now, to be honest. Unless he expects, you know, maybe the Flame Strike would be sufficient. uses a jump pad at a bad time. Death Row easily punishes that one. And you said 3 difference now? It's now 5. So, you know, we've kind of very quickly gone back into that lead that said we're able to establish.
I'm just worried on the fact that if Drasford get this next quad, they're going to be the ones flipping the spawns back and forth and making so they get full abuse of this quad now. And looking at the stack so far, of course, Ascent's not in the best of spots to go for it. So if Drasford wants to pick a fight, now would be a fantastic start. And of course, that flank, do you know what? When we saw the previous series, in the second series, I think, in the EU side, we saw the dive the whole time, but it's constantly about the flame struck the entire time. But of course, again, the third power up on a row, and the third one going in favour of Ascent here.
Now, for those that may not know, the reason you can be a little bit freer playing as Death Knight is that his passive is that he's immune to flame damage. That does include another Death Knight's Fire Trail, so it is impossible for him to catch fire. But on Corrupted Keep, you know, some of those lava floors, he actually takes no damage from those either. The same way Sorlag would take reduced damage, you know, or no damage on Lockbox. It's exactly the same kind of thing for Death Knight. But that was a really, really good run from Ascent. Now 7 kills in the lead. This is now more of a lead than I think we wanted to see, given their great circumstances.
Yeah, this is the kind of scoreline I expected, and
Oh,
even though I feel like even then it should be like at least 12, but we'll have to see exactly how Drasford do. You know, I reckon they can come back from this, because we've seen them do it before again and again. I know it's very tiresome, and it must be very annoying for them, the fact that they keep closing the gap, they get a power up, then they close the gap, and vice versa. It happens every single time. But then again, you know, you probably deserve it if you're not setting up well and getting these power-ups or contesting it well enough. But, you know, they've still got plenty of opportunities. I reckon they've got at least 2 more power-ups to go until this game ends, and they can maybe kind of come back from this. But yeah, you're right though. Even though it's a 7-kill deficit, a protection quad could definitely change all that.
But this is exactly what, you know, you were talking about, is that the second we see the big leads actually comes from the power-up. And I think a big part of that is that Drasford, unfortunately, are not really setting up particularly well compared to Ascent. They're putting themselves in situations where they're not really equipped. They may not have a stack. They have an ability, but they're not really in a position to use the ability too much use. You know, that's the problem they're having, is that they're using abilities but getting like no frags, no kills, and if it misses and then they get the power up, they've got nothing left to actually use the power up for. It's, you know, unfortunately just not working out.
Yeah, some of the things you will notice as well is the fact that they've been set up or in a position most of the time, but they've never had the stack to at least try and make a good run for it. Like, they never had the ability to, you know, try and go for it. Yes, you're fair enough, they've got a full setup and then fully capable of going for it, but if you haven't got the health to back up, then you can't. But here we go. This is Dramis' first opportunity now with the first power up on board. Of course, he will suicide to give that protection to Nosfer now. And this is what I'm talking about. Look at that. Already, it's depleted to a 2-kill gap. So I want to see what exactly happens now to the kill league. Of course, if it was quad, I reckon it'll be on at least 4, no doubt. But now with protection, obviously it works a little bit more differently. But then again, Ascent, they're doing a good job just keeping away from him. I think they're only going to get 1, maybe 2 kills here to actually do anything on it. Maybe even none. That's so surprising.
Yeah, Brick near the LG room was definitely not focused on trying to either survive or kill right there. He was just trying to stay alive.
He was just in purgatory at the time.
He was basically, he was wasting time. That was his goal. And he wasted like half of its time. Nosfer, the second he decided to split his attention, Death Row was already gone too. So that was so well played by Ascent, just so much composure to not overstep your mark and just go, nope, I'm going to stay true to my guns, I'm going to waste this time. And it has actually kept him in this fight.
Yeah, you're right. And if I look, I think that heavy has been picked up early, and German's supposed to stay alive. He was on 1 HP earlier. Finally gets taken down. He healed up so many times, and it took so long to trade, and Death Row sadly will be on Death Row there as he went through that pool and gets taken down by that tribot. And Brick is just trying to stay alive himself. Gets taken down by that Flame Strike, and what good timing as well. That Mega's just popped, and the Heavy's going to come up in a second. And if they manage to get it, they're going to close the gap even further, maybe even take the lead.
I mean, Death Row has no Flame Strike. He can't fight back. He actually hasn't got Flame Strike for a while, but very, very clutch shotgun blast. Here comes Brick trying to survive. Nosfer picks it up, but he himself will get collected by Death Row anyway. And only 3 kills separates these 2 teams. If Drasford win this map, they will be taking it 2-0, moving on into Grand Finals. Ascent, they need this map so bad.
Yeah, they do, and it's still a worry having 3 out of 4 power-ups, and then again, still only be 2-kill difference. And the thing is, though, the worst bit is it's not that the fact that they've made any use of it. They have made good use of it. They've not to its full potential, but enough to make a difference. And it is a way now.
Oh, the double!
No!
Oh my God! They felt like it was just such the right time, and it's just not. 2 kills again in the lead, but. Oh, that was going to be a magical quad damage.
Yeah, as well, and it wasn't even like one of them, it was both of them went for the quad. I don't think they both decided which one should get it. I think they just both went for it anyway. It's kind of like not a panic moment, but I think they both just didn't decide who should get it first.
It was miscommunicated, that's for sure.
Yeah, defo. But even with his quad, he's only got 1 or 2 kills from it, so not a huge difference with that quad, and I think they realise now, just let him waste the time, go for that heavy, and just go for another stack rather than try and finish off with the quad.
We fear that might have been a map-losing mistake. Nostra uses his dual wield just to collect brick, and that's actually not a bad trade, to be honest, to get all of his grenades out at the cost of us losing our dual wield. It's not the end of the world, because bricks, grenades have just been immune. There's a reason Kiel is banned as often as he is. And is that a ring out? Oh, it is a ring out. Dramus is falling. 2 kills behind again. Soon to be 3, to be honest. Nostra horrendously weak. Brick takes some decent damage, which allows, gets an assist.
But this is a point I mentioned as well. Look at it, screen at the moment. They're both being separated, and this is the opportunity Draspa wanted now. But even then, Brick still managed to be able to get away from that situation. Fantastic play there, and that could have been either way. If he got taken down, and of course, his teammate would have been taken down straight after to separate the spawns back and forth, because sometimes that can happen in Corrupted Keep. If you split the spawns like that, that's where you want to go back and forth. But even then, it's still that 3-kill gap that's been talking point the entire time, with and without the power-ups. It's just been a struggle. Now it's up to 5, so at this point, if that protection comes up and Ascent pick it up, that could be going to a map 3.
And as things go, I fear that it might reach that point. Dramus does get 1 frag, but Ascent 4 kills in the lead. 10 seconds until our protection is going to spawn, and this is definitely going to be the last power-up of the map, I feel. Death Row gets another kill on Nosfer. Dramus has to be super aggressive now. He has to. Jumping over. Wonderful jumps actually going through, but no, caught in the air. Those mid-air pineapples. Yes, please. And I think this might be it. This might be game over. Kiel has such an impressive stack, and he's got so many grenades. But he's actually caught in a bad spot. Hang on.
Wow.
Wait a second. Wait a minute. Don't count him out. Dramus is too weak to fight, but if he just focuses on restacking while Nosfer goes ham, then maybe...
Oh, it's so close as well. I think he was only like 30 HP or something like that. Finally gets taken down, but what a comeback as well. But the thing is, though, Ascent has still got that protection. Not much left of it, but enough to put a little bit of pressure on, which he has done. He's making full use of it, and they know that as well. Finally runs out, but it might run out a little bit too late. 49 to 47 now. Sorry, 49 to 45, and it could be all she wrote for this second map.
There's a big ask to come back from this, and yeah, Dramus is in a really bad position. The 2v1 is rolled, but wait!
What?
Okay, 2v2. Nosfer saves the day at the last possible second. Let's check out, see if this is enough. Oh, no! The rocket round the corner. Okay, we have a map 3 on our hands again. How many of these semis today are going to go down to a map 3? It's madness. It's almost like the level of play just consistently just closes in the more we do these cups.
I told you it's my fault. For some reason, I always make it map 3s or game 5s or track 4, whatever. It's just been a bit of a palaver, but that's what we want to see, I suppose. You know, some of these close series, and I think after the first one, we kind of thought to ourselves, well, I think this should be it, really. That should go to that map 2 then, all said and done. But, you know, like you pointed out, look, I mentioned before, it's the fact that with his power-ups and stuff, you should be making, you know, at least not just full use, but the fact that they were actually using it to its utmost potential, and still the score gap was still so close. I reckon if it's going to be a larger map, but it's not going to be. I think it's going to be a Woken for our 3rd map, if I remember rightly. So this fight for power-up will be something to miss, but in terms of setting up on all those bits and pieces, yeah, sure, fair enough, Draspa was set up for it, but never had the stack or had time to heal up to kind of go for it. Yeah, sure, they did, but they knew that they were knocking on death's door every time they would try and take up on that opportunity. But with Awoken, you've got to remember, there's only 2 ways to get to that power-up, and hopefully they'll probably set up a lot better and try and go for those executes a lot better for it as well.
The big thing about those small maps, especially in this kind of play, is how you play around the power-up, because it was the big thing. It was the thing that allowed the lead to take place. Whenever there was no power-up on screen, they were constantly trading it each. So that's pretty much the reason I think that the kill difference is always so small. And the second the power-up would appear, that's where the game would immediately change. And you know, I think some of that early on was quite mismanaged by Draspa, to be honest. I do kind of feel like they were somewhat almost hastily using some of their abilities, and you know, when the time came to actually sort of like pull the trigger on a dual wield or on a flame strike or something, it was never as impactful as maybe it could have been. And the big thing, I think the game changer, was that double flame strike.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
It purely came from, unfortunately, it must have just been miscommunication. They clearly were not sold on who was going to get the quad, so they both try and get quad and give the entire thing up. 2 kills and a power-up was the beginning of the end for these guys.
Yeah, they couldn't really ask for much more at that point. When they got that double and got the quad as well, that was like, you know, a Christmas present come early, pretty much. They were so, not lucky, but, you know, what an opportunity they could have had. But, you know, this is something Which they might need, but of course with Woke it's going to be quite different. It's going to be a little bit slower, of course, compared to Crud and Keep, but we're going to see how they stabilise. We're going to see if, you know, Ascend do continue getting these power-ups and getting better setups for it, and of course getting better ways of going for it. But we're going to see if Drasva can kind of capitalise a bit more on the fact that Woke is a little bit larger, plenty of ways to at least change their style up and trying to do a similar thing as what they did on the first map on Blood Cup.
Yeah, Nosfer running after that rocket, unfortunately gave his position away, so he's forced to retreat for a fair amount, and they're going to know that he had to retreat, so he's going to be near the LG room. Here comes the 2v1, but Death Row! A quick reactionary rail just to say no to that 2 versus 1. Death Row has been looking so clean today.
Yeah, at the start I wasn't too sure, but as the series gone by, it's been looking smoother and smoother, and it's really helping out Brick so much in so many scenarios. But he's on 3 HP for such a long time then. Nosfer finally manages to take him out, gets the Mega as well, and that Heavy's just been picked up, but it looks like it just will be burned here. They do clean him up, but they don't. They actually let him get away, but this is another opportunity for him to actually flank round. Brick does manage to take him out. Death Row finally gets traded after all that, but Brick gets that crucial double and managed to take the lead 6-5.
That's the unfortunate thing that Nosfer did. He missed a couple of rails and then still pressed the advantage, knowing he would be pretty much compromised in that position. But Death Row actually challenging a jump pad versus dual wield anyway, but close enough range, and the super shotgun gets the job done. Brick falls eventually as well, and this is a much more back and forth game, and that's just the difference in map choice, I think, coming through.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried in terms of how we're going to do things. It took one of the picks as well, I've noticed, but of course, Dramus does use Buys on this one, which is, I find, is a little bit interesting because, of course, maybe he will use it for, in terms of like when the power-ups get picked up, and if I do a setup, then he may use Piercing Sight to see exactly where they're going, where they are, and who to execute first. But it seems like now, again, with the whole power-up play, it just seems to be the talking point here for not just that last game, but the entire series. Again, they've got it, and they're using it to not to the full potential yet, but enough to at least stabilise and keep the scores close.
Gonna try and press, not too fast. Going in now is a good choice because wait, he was right. Did he just, what? Did Brick just run past someone?
I think he dropped down, but I'm surprised even then. But
I feel like he didn't see him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe he saw a glimpse of him, but maybe left him to go for the other trade. But what flames drop by Death Row there just to clean Nosfer up, and just like that, of course, Dramus now got full eyes on exactly where they are, of course, around the rockets and the heavy side, as he kind of expected. And now he's just going to wait patiently to see exactly what information he can get. And of course, he's going to run to straight away both of them. Sadly, does suicide, but hopefully was thinking to himself, I was getting enough damage done then. But of course, Nosfer wasn't in the right frame of mind or place to get that trade.
Death Row is very weak, though. Let's check out his stack, actually. 35 health, that's definitely not much. Starting to buy a couple of health items, but even now he's railable. Not so much now he's collected the armor. But in the meantime, Brick's been taking damage. Oh, the Flame Strike trades! The damage is real! Brick now going towards Heavy. Not in an amazing position, hasn't really got any weapons, but if he gets a couple of shotgun blasts, which he unfortunately missed, to be Death Row. Cleaning up, and this is that constant trade game. You know, that's what happens when two teams seem incredibly evenly matched. They go back and forth, and it's when the power-up spawns you start to see the separation of scores. And wow, that's a lot of LG. Dramus, the boy, that one hurt.
Yeah, that was crazy. Of course, you know, I think Death Row there's LG wasn't really on point, but Dramus was definitely it was then, as you could have seen. And they're trying to wait for the Heavy, but he left it, going back for it anyway. And Death Row, for a split second, was like, oh, maybe it's not coming up, but went back straight for it. It kind of like accidentally baited Dramus to drop down for it in the end. But again, the second power up in a row. The talking point I mentioned before. Use that Flame Strike, managed to get enough damage done, but will he get the cleanup? Almost does. He's so weak at this stage, but just barely gets away, around 30 HP. Managed to pick him up finally, trying to go for another kill there, see if he can catch him off guard, but great play by Nosfer there to try and get away.
They try to mix him up throughout the teleports, unfortunately just give themselves to him on a silver plate. Death Row picks up another kill. Doing very well, in fact, actually. Check out his kill feed. 11 kills so far. Pretty even split across the board, to be honest. No real star performers coming through just yet on kills alone. That's what happens when these even teams go back. Unfortunately, looks like Drasva very weak again. They take so much damage in these exchanges. The cleanup is easy. Should have been a ring out, but the wall was just there to save the day. And now we're going to check out. Let's have a look at some Brick, actually. He's got plenty of grenades. Oh, never mind. Best time to watch Brick rise. He's eating all that. We're going to check out Nosfer instead.
Again, LG to the opposite side of the map, pretty much. You've got to hate it when it happens. But, of course, Nosfer finally gets traded from Death Row there. Death Row's only on 9 HP. Needs to... He can try and help his teammate some way or another, but he won't be baiting, switching, of course, because he gets in front of him, then basically saying goodbye to his life, and managed to heal up a little bit, so at least he gets something done. But of course, that Mega and Heavy ain't up for a while, so I think these two now are just going to be sticking together, find the opportunity, get some health force, get a little bit of armor here. A fantastic rail there. And sadly for them, we're going to have to back off a little bit. Defro's been weak the entire time. How's he not been traded yet?
I have no idea, but he's... Oh my god! Defro! What an animal he's being right now. 2 really impressive frags, whilst on low HP the entire time. He's got heavy, but he does need to restack. That heavy is not going to mean much until the... Oh, yeah, he's got the Mega. Undoing all of it. I
was going to say as well, of course, with this next power-up coming up with a quad in 10 seconds, he needs as much as stack as possible, because it's the problem Jasper had before, but they're in such a good spot. Venkat is now here the entire time and getting a good spot, which he does do, and of course, Nosfer went in first, but it's a shot. And they managed to all trade out, so that quad's going to be there for a while. Depends on whoever gets there first, and of course, Brick does manage to get it, managed to clean up Nosfer there, and 3rd power-up in a row. It's just the main talking point here, and it seems like Jasper just haven't got an answer for it.
The second we go on these smaller maps and you start to see how... Oh, Dramas was... No way he was hitting there. Brick knew exactly where he was.
Yeah, he wasn't leaving at all, was he? He was going to either stand there or go anyway, one way or another. But most of the quad fair enough. He got about 3 or 4 kills out of it, which wasn't too bad. So, again, not his full potential, but enough damage to keep him at bay. But again, the lead now, it's always about 3 or 4 kills after each power-up and wasn't making too much of it. But finally, they stabilised a little bit. 8 kill deficit, and Jasper, they really need this next protection some way, or at least try and play a little bit faster, play their own game, collapse a lot quicker, don't hesitate and try and do what they normally do. But they have done. There was a 10 kill deficit, they started playing how they normally play, and they've closed the gap a little bit further. But fantastic play here by Dramas, getting all that damage done. Nosfer's trying to clean up that last kill, but not before Brick respawns and gives him a hand again.
I feel like they've completely changed champions too, right, Drasfer? I think they've changed their lineup a little bit.
I think they have Advisor, didn't they? I think.
Well, I don't know. I don't recall. I know I've said my memory's really terrible, but I don't recall seeing Death Knight and Keel on Drasper's side at the beginning of the map.
That's right. Your long-term memory's all good. So that's
God, am I getting old, Harry? Is that what's happening?
What's
happening here?
I can vouch for you because I'm a bit older in here. So I've got memories bad of a girlfish now.
Jesus wept.
But it's heavy now. It's still to play for, but they managed to pick up after that 2v1 fight. But that's another talking point as well. Later and later, it's going into this game. They seem to be a little bit separated, but Nosfer's doing a fantastic job getting his damage dealt on the outskirts, but this protection in the next 12 seconds. Drasford need to get this. If not, it could be curtains for them.
5 seconds away from protection. Nosfer picks it up. Okay, that's the start. But Brick... Oh, no! Brick quite literally just pushing him out of the map right there.
There's one way to get him out. That was definitely the way. And of course, we'll be suiciding to give that protection to Defro. And he's got heavy on top of that. And yeah, Ryan, this could be a map 3 for Ascent, but then again, we've said that before in this map, and it's gone the opposite way. It's been very topsy-turvy here, but Defro's getting seriously punished here, but finally gets a lot of damage done. Everyone's getting that flame strike to finish things off, but look at this though, such pressure, and finally we get the protection, but only have about 5 seconds of it, so never mind. Maybe they do have some kind of comeback potential here.
Defro had that unfortunate circumstance where he landed so many 6 shots, but actually didn't really mean much. Like, he just couldn't secure any kills. Even though he hit like 3 or 4 shots in a row, it actually was not enough, which is kind of surprising. But okay, they're mounting what could be a comeback. Only 7 kills behind now. Even though Ascent have had a solid lead the entire time, I definitely would not count out Drasper. If they get one, essentially, rampage right now, they have time. They have time to get the job done.
Just give him 1 power, that's all they need. They've not had one at all this entire game. That quad's coming up in 60 seconds. They'll definitely stay alive until then, but at this stage, they can't give the lead away further. We've noticed it now, 9 kill deficit, and it could easily happen. I'm hoping their morale doesn't deflate in any way just as it gets closer to that point, but that quad is definitely 100% necessary. If they do not get it this time round, it's going to cause an issue. But then again, will it cause an issue? Ascent seems to be very good at keeping away from anyone with a protection or quad. We saw it before, even on maps like Quad Keep, so they can easily do it on this map.
There's not a lot of this map left to go though, Harry. That's the problem. 7 kills left, and Ascent will take this 2-1. It was such a dominant first map for Drasper, but the second we've kind of lowered the tone, and we're now on a smaller map, and it's more aggressive, and it's way more focused on having those big group fights where the power-up is the key. I feel like Ascent have just controlled it so much better. And just 2 more kills. They need 5 left, and they're going to go into our grand finals, and that's a great way for Brick to make his Ascent debut. I'm pretty sure you'd agree.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. And I think another talking point as well is the fact that we're talking about why they've had that power up every single time, all 5 times in this game, and it's mainly due to the fact that when they try and execute, it always seems to be Ascent are the one setting up, and Jasper's in the pinch on the spot where they have to be the ones executing a plan to use that strategic aggression and try and break through. But they go in one at a time, and it's very easy to go one at a time, especially on a map like this, and it seems to be not in their favour. He always put himself in a disadvantageous spot, and they're trying to be unorthodox, but if you're going one at a time like that, you're of course going to give him that power up for free.
Drossfire just playing the runaway game at this stage, and I don't blame them. The problem is, though, as they run away, they run the risk of giving up set pickups, power-ups, and all that stuff. Death Row is probably going to drop here, which he does. Plenty of work left to go, unfortunately. All right, Brick gets another one. Flame Strike does not accomplish. Can't put himself out, no health nearby, gonna have to accept his fate. What? 1 HP! Oh.
And I loved how he actually gave the heavy to his teammate because he thought he was going to die and was going to give it to Death Row. But instead, I would have given it to him anyway because 1 HP, you're not really going to do much. But then again, even though it wasn't Death Row is actually the guy who must do pack a punch even with the small HP. But looking at it now, 49 to 37, it's going to be all curtains here eventually when they get that last kill. And a very interesting series compared to what we saw on that first map.
Absolutely. I think map choice makes a big difference. Also, just how you approach the teamwork. I think fighting for the power-up, its coordination is the big thing, and it just kind of feels like maybe the coordination was somewhat lacking between Drossfire.
You saw that.
Yeah, we all saw that. We all saw that one. That's going to be a GG right there, and it's actually going to be Ascent moving into grand finals. Congratulations to Death Row and Brick. We'll be seeing you guys later. Unfortunately for Dramas and Nospa, this is going to be the end of their Go4 journey for this month. But the pleasure of the Go4s is there's always the next one, isn't there? So unfortunately, we won't be seeing them anymore. But they had a really good start. They had a really, really solid start. But it's as we went on and the coordination became a lot more demanded, you know, because of just how you have to fight for that power up. It was, you know, we've talked about the power up a lot because it just really seemed like the biggest factor. When almost no power-up goes in your favor, that's going to play a humongous part. And at the highest level, playing around an enemy that does have a power-up is very hard. We've only seen the likes of like Team Liquid, for example, you know, the world champion 2v2 team. They're like the only team I've ever seen that can play around the power-up like it doesn't exist. For everyone else, it's a much bigger ask, I think. Yeah,
if both teams were picking up, then that wouldn't be much of a talking point. We'll be talking more about the potential of how much they abused it or how much they stayed away from it, anything like that if both teams got it. But the things that with Awoken, it's the fact that they picked up 5 times on the trot and they didn't pick up 1 power the entire game. That's extremely worrying, but what made it more worrying is the fact that, of course, what happens if Ascent play against a team who are very good at getting power-ups, so are really good at setting up for it, or making execution to try and pick it up, you know, that's when they're going to be in some serious trouble. Because I mentioned in games before where if you're against a team where they're picking up every single one without fail, but yet they're still not able to increase that lead and it's stabilized still at around a 2-3 kill lead, it's extremely worried in my part. And if it was me, I'd be extremely worried as well, because I'd be like, well, we're obviously doing something wrong here. And that W you're talking about as well with the flame strike, that was just something you just did not want to see. And I think if they were both in the LAN environment, they'll just look at each other and just gone,
for sure. And actually looking at these replays, there was a Visor and BJ picked first, and then there was a change to Keel, and then there was a change to Death Knight. So across the course of this final map, we saw a couple of champions swapped out from Drossfire, which meant they must have changed in the middle. They didn't believe in their original pick. And that's kind of what happened. You know, Brick was going Visor first on Blood Covenant, but as we go into a smaller map and the champions change, there is a natural change of pace that will come with that. I don't know why I said place, who knows. But that's pretty much what I was saying, is that the second we go into a smaller map and the champions change, it became way more about the combat, way more about the damage, and that was where Brick started to really come into his element. The second he went from Visor to Keel, we saw a night and day difference. As you can see right here, Ascent will be waiting in grand finals. But it's Temp B, Dahang and Dewey versus Chain and Waz up next. So we're going to be setting up our previous game. As you can see, we're eager to go into our break, so we'll waste no time. See you guys in a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
We'll find out how tasty soon.
bigger the guns, the bigger the boom.
I'm gonna flip you like a table.
Это было несложно. Ты слаб.
Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Ketchup, joined by Lethal, and this is the Quake Champions Go4 monthly finals for North America. There was going to be 2 semi-finals, but as the bringer of bad news, there is actually only going to be one. Unfortunately, Chain and Waz forfeited in the semi-finals, and they were supposed to be fighting against Temp B. But as you can clearly see, in the fastest 2-0 known to mankind, it's going to be Waz and Chain out of the tournament due to forfeit, and Temp B straight into grand finals, which means you're not going to get a semi-finals, you're going to get a grand finals.
Yeah,
congratulations, Temp B. Congratulations, Temp B, you're here now. It's going to be Dewey and Dahang in the lineup. This is a temporary team, as the name would suggest, because obviously Dewey playing under the Maestro banner, and we have Dahang, who is normally Team Liquid. Rafa, I believe, is currently flying to Europe today. Obviously, PGL, the next big LAN. PGL duel tournament, where it's going to be the collection of the world's greatest players under one roof again for some duel action. Rafa is flying there already for some, well, I would assume it's probably boot camp or something similar, just to prepare. American players adjusting their time zone for a LAN is nothing new, and it's great that he's doing that to prepare, because this is a world champion player. These are the steps that you take. So it's going to be Dewey and Dahang today. The thing about this team, which I really want to talk about, is you would almost think, whoa, Dahang without Rafa's leadership, how do you think that's going to go? And then you think about it and realize that anyone that watches Garpy's stream, obviously, Dewey and Garpy would normally play together under Maestro UKSA. When you watch their streams, you always realize that Dewey is still the shot caller. Dewey is the one that is making the commands, he's calling the plays, and he's constantly talking. Almost completely as much as Rafa talks. If you listen to the coordination of Team Liquid, their non-stop in-game comms are ridiculous. Like, it is, every piece of information is vital and really important, and it's relentless. There's no point in the game where either Dahang or Rafa is not making a call, or saying where someone is, what the damage is like, etc., etc. And Dewey has kind of really sort of taken up that mantle. So to be honest, how different I think they're going to be, I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to be that different at all, because I still think if Dewey is still confident enough with Dahang instead of Garpy, one would assume that the communication might be unchanged.
Yeah, I would say so, because, I don't think we need to worry about it in terms of in-game leadership, because I think their slaying ability is just going to be so far to none that Ascent are just going to have a strong issue anyway. If there was some kind of leadership in terms of who's the shot caller, who's going to do what, who's going to do where, in terms of 2v2, sometimes in terms of strategies, that won't be there, but the instinct is always going to be there. And most of the time you do run on instinct in probably about 3/4 of the situations anyway. But in terms of Dahang and Dewey in this kind of scenario, I think they're perfectly fine. They're very good duelists, they're very good at 2v2, they've been very consistent, they're kind of like the staple in this game right now. But those two together, I don't think that's going to cause any problems. In terms of chemistry, maybe a little bit of an issue because it's their first time teaming together, and of course with Rafa flying over to PGL ready to do the fabric, get rid of the jet lag to camp and get some early practice, which is fair enough because most players and teams do actually do that. With these two players, I don't think they're going to have any kind of issue. The only issue they may have, maybe a little bit of the chemistry, but if they've got some strong fragging power here, just to naturally come with them in this team, I think they'll be okay.
And they've both got really good fundamentals too, let's not forget that. But we have the pick and bans ready to go. It is going to be Ranger and Galena taken away again. I definitely think these guys watched Europe earlier today. There was a fair amount. I mean, that die roll made a big difference. That's all I'm going to say. Ascent removing Ranger, and it is Temp B taking away Galena. Our maps will be Molten Falls. We get to see Molten Falls for the first time today. Ruins of Sarnath, Awoken, Blood Run, and if it comes to it, it's going to be Corrupted Keep. Now, there's a big difference in the maps, as you would always expect. I know there's a very, very deliberate, and is that a new ban? Is that the new ban production? Can you just confirm? I see. So it's going to be Ascent removing BJ from the play, and it's Temp B removing Death Knight. So forget everything I just said. This is actually the ban, but the map picks are actually the same. So we're still going to start with Molten Falls, Ruins, Awoken, Blood Run, and Keep if it comes to that. I'm going to be honest, I don't think it will come to that. I think the natural skill of Dahang and Dewey combined, I think that's going to be enough. My call is, I think maybe even a 3-0 here. They are my hard favourite to win this tournament.
Yeah, they're my heavy favourite, if Rafa was there, or if he wasn't there, or if Garpy was there, or he's not there. It's one of those things. And when you look to those bans, when I saw the Ranger again, I was actually thinking to myself, I'm actually pleasantly not surprised in the slightest. But now looking at it, the Death Knight, I'm definitely not surprised about, because the amount of flame strikes used and abused that whole time was just on another level. It's kind of those dialogues the whole time. Literally, all we saw was those plays every single time without fail. And now it's been banned, so we're not going to see any more of that flame strike for the rest of the series, or the rest of this Go4 as a whole. But I think Temp B saw that and thought that was kind of their go-to, or kind of like their get out of jail free card in some ways. But having that banned, I'm a bit upset not seeing that, of course, ever again for the rest of the thing. But
all I'm gonna say, maybe the play was to make Death Knight more like his original, where he walks at a snail's pace, right? He was the easiest, because a lot of played Quake 1. Death Knight was actually one of the easiest enemies. He just kind of walked around and then went, "Urgh, oh." That was his two sounds. It was, "Urgh, oh." That was it. That was Death Knight. He just walked around like this and had like really slow project. They should have made him more like that. It would have been more canon. It would have been more canon. How about that? Yeah, so Molten Falls first. Picks we're kind of expecting to see. I think on Molten Falls, definitely Visor.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if we don't see a Visor on Falls because it's both size and just how many angles there are to get shot by and lots of scope for ambush. Not as much scope for severe ambush now Death Knight's been taken away. And actually BJ in that fact. But there's still champions that can sort of set those up. There's still going to be Ranger, for example, and you know, if we're in this best of 5 situation, I'd be surprised if we don't see Ranger at least once. I feel like as we've kind of gone into as each patch changes the game and we see adjustments here and there, Ranger has always been such a staple, and right now I feel like that's, you know, no exception whatsoever. So Ascent, I think they've done great to be in grand finals. You know, just to remind anyone that just joined us, you know, Brick is a recent pickup by Ascent. They've been around for a bit, but now Brick is one of their recent players. He was a great performer in the semi-finals, and I think he's definitely been an asset to that organization, showing them that he's worth their time. And here we go. It's going to be our grand finals. 2 Ranger, 2 Galena, a complete mirror match.
And one thing I find quite interesting as well is that they've chosen Molten Falls. A little bit off meta in terms of the first pick, and I'm not sure it's going to be too expected. Maybe it's a map they're quite good on, but then again, how do we know? These are 2 players who just rally combined from 2 different teams due to the circumstance. Of course, everyone flying out for the next event. It's going to be interesting, but maybe just want to try to get a feel for it and everything like that, which is completely understandable. But of course, Temp B straight away getting those 2 kills in right off the bat. And I spoke about the only issue this team could ever have is probably chemistry due to the fact that they've got so much slaying power. But even then, if they just play like they normally do with Garpy or Rafa, I'm sure it will be perfectly fine.
Got to mention, there's a Ranger on the team, and it doesn't belong to the Dewey Orb. It belongs to the Hang.
That is true.
I'm somewhat surprised. I mean, like, I'm surprised and not. Like, you know, I know some players like having their sort of like stamp on something. By the way, Dewey Orb to Dewey. We just saw in the kill feed. He just got Dewey Orbs himself. But just because a player is known for a certain style of play, for those that don't know, last year Dewey had one of the most disgusting Rangers I think we've ever seen. Predominantly, mostly at DreamHack Denver, actually, against the Hang, funnily enough. But if they're going to be going in for 2v2, it's important to make sure that they can still go with people that, you know, go with comps that make sense. If Dahang has a stronger Ranger at this time, or maybe Dewey feels really strong with his Galena, because his Galena is excellent as well.
Yeah, and obviously it's a complete mirror match, like you mentioned before, with both champions. Not really too surprised there, of course. Galena being a fantastic pick on this map, depending on the circumstances, but especially in different areas of the map. But already now, Temp B do have a small lead to begin with. And even then, the stacks are very similar as well. So we had a good start, but it's like I mentioned before, I don't think anything is going to hold them back too much. I don't think it matters. Actually, no, I say a word of a lie. It does matter, of course, that Rafa aim with Dahang, because it's that natural ability to have that chemistry with each other, and a lot of things in terms of the strategic aggression and pushing with each other is going to be very different. But like I said, again, Ascent continuing that power up, the power up craze now with that streak. I think it's like 6 in a row now. Whoa. If you include that last map, and seems like they seem to be very good. Maybe they're just a good team in terms of setting up or maybe executing the pushes. I have to wait and see how this map goes with the future power-ups.
Dahang just went for a very, very big play there. A long-range orb. I mean, his call was right. His read of Brick going around that corner was correct, but it was just to set the orb up right there at that moment. That was either a calculated attempt to try and kill, or he just wanted to move faster, and Brick just so happened to be there. Either way, it didn't quite work out. Even score right now, 8-8. At this point in time, but definitely seems to swap over. Let's actually go back to Dahang, just securing a kill. I love how free Ranger is to try and go in for that rocket jump due to his passive, but yeah, Brick was laying in wait. We'll go back to Brick and check it out for a second.
Yeah, even then with that quad, it's still 9-0. It's another thing I spoke about before, and it makes you question really exactly how things are going to go. But I want to see what happens when Temp B, if Dahang or Dewey gets his protection next. I want to see how much abuse they have, and Brick are doing a great job at Galena in one way, shape or form, but yeah, managed to take 1 out, of course, gets 2 there, so of course now 11-9 in favour of Ascent, and something you wouldn't kind of expect, but it's still early days nonetheless.
I feel like we should spend a little bit more time checking out Death Row, because throughout the course of the semis, and even now in this game, he's been popping off something fierce, like his just straight up execution, you know, for landing those really hype moments, those really sort of like clutch abilities when you need to land them, you know, to get that kill. He does it almost every time, and he very rarely misses. That's 2 telefrags he's landed in 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's definitely one to say, definitely not a game changer. Probably the definition of it on this team. But Brick is like such a good complement with it as well. His slaying ability and his fragging sense in terms of like his game sense on how to, like how and when to actually do a lot of damage, or to at least try and flank around to do the cleanup's been phenomenal. And I think with Deathrow like getting his clutch plays up and trying to finish the job, sometimes it turned out to be in a bad scenario, is to say the least. But you know, even though they didn't play against this team before, this is still technically 7 power-ups in a row.
That is true. And that's just been the level of control that Ascent are able to establish. And there's a lot of confidence here. They're trying so hard to run away from Brick, but it's difficult. Yeah, it really is difficult when you've got Deathrow, who's laying there in wait with, you know, his orbs. Actually, he's running out of protection, so we're going to watch out. Deathrow actually probably going to likely get the kill instead. Whoa, they trade it. Brick's going to lose it at the last possible second. But it's kind of going back to what you said. Seeing as they've held a bit more control throughout the course of this game, they're only 3 kills in the lead, and I do think that carries a certain weight. To hang really weak. I'm actually curious as to how he's going to try and recover from this.
Yeah, it's a huge weight. I'd be severely worried in any respect. I'll play the same as I normally would, like pressure, aggression, make sure you don't give him any chance of breath in any shape or form in certain parts of the map to keep him at bay, to get those heavies and megas and that. But if you're getting these power-ups all the time and you're putting it to good use, yeah, of course it's going to be a serious worry here. But of course they're trying to make an attempt at some point later on. But this is what I want to see. If Tempe get this next quad, I want to know and tell how much damage they get done. But then again, like I mentioned before, Ascent are very good at keeping away from those kind of scenarios, and it's like they practiced it enough before.
Dewey tries to get the job done. He's really weak. It's not going to be enough because Deathrow finishes them off. And Dahang consistently really weak as well. Oh, just excellent rocket. Really, really well placed.
Good example of that clutch play. Say not clutch play in terms of actually staying alive, but in terms of those kind of scenarios, yeah, his predictive rocket's been very, very good, very phenomenal in those kind of circumstances. It's only on 14 HP, and of course that Mega won't be coming up for another 10 seconds, but he may try and contest the heavy in any type, shape or form. But as you can see, not too sure who picked that up there, but of course that quad is going to come up in the next 7 seconds. Dewey gets a double there. Perfect opportunity for Tempe to try and grab that under the nose, but as you can see now, 1 second left. They're already on it. They do get that pickup, but oh, that was such great play. The fact that they let them both bait straight forward, and then
that
picked
was
up great afterwards.
You know for a fact, like that you don't even need to hear their communication to hear that call was let them pick it up.
Yeah.
Like let them collect it, let them stand on it. Dewey was already coming up behind. They were not ready for him to appear, and that was perfect teamwork. And that's the kind of teamwork I'm kind of expecting to see a little bit more from Tempe. You know, Dahang and Dewey. That's the kind of play that Dahang and Rafa would have made.
Yeah, no, I completely agree here. And like I mentioned before, it's that with Ascent, when they haven't got the quad of protection, they do such a good job of staying array. And it's not because of the map either. We saw them do it on Corrupted Keep. And that's like, okay, I wouldn't say neon impossible, but depending on the team you play against, it's extremely difficult. Okay, maybe they probably would get away from Claws and or anyone else that wants to run from that point, but you never know. But they just seem to be very good of getting out of a bad situation.
Has allowed Tempe to take the lead, that's for sure. They haven't really had the lead consistently, but it's been so back and forth. They've only been slightly behind, so you know it's one of those cases where you would say Ascent technically had the lead, but it still felt even though they only had like a couple of kills.
Yeah, because even from that quad, I think they only got 2, but even then it's like 2 is better than 0. Of course you want to try and get at least 4 or 5 out of it, but on a map like this it is quite difficult. So I think 2 is not like a staple, but I think it's a good amount considering like the teams you're playing against. You're going to expect, you know, the whole ring around the rosy, especially on molten falls as well.
That's actually quite interesting. Neither of the members of Ascent were prepared for Dahang to hit that die roll angle. You know, if Dahang was, I think, more aware they were coming through that hallway, he could have probably surprised them with a rail or 2, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting to me they weren't ready for that die roll angle. Oh god, what was that?
It's just a cluster of mess, basically.
Gibbs all over the shop.
But I like that as well. Like, he was about to dive in, he threw the totem down so that when he does get damage and go for the heavy, at least he's got 50 HP to gain as well as that heavy anyway. But didn't make too much difference, but it's a nice little thought there in that kind of process. But Defro's just trying to stay alive. But as you can see now, Tempe do get that second power up on the road, does get that protection. But what a difference that makes. Went through the telly, bait him to make him think that he's just going to try and get away, but drops straight down to help Dahang clean out those next 2 kills. But even then, you know, the score line is very, very similar, and it's kind of not what I expected. I would have thought, you know what, but they would increase their lead a fair amount. But then again, on Molten Falls, it is quite large, and to try and get that kind of abuse with a quarter protection it really depends on the spawns afterwards and how quickly you get him off the bat.
Brick made a pretty big play there for the attempt, I think. I think Brick might have sort of gone into that heavy, accepting that he was probably going to die. I think he just really wanted to collect it first. You know, if they knew that the protection was just about to run out, if at the very least they could prevent Dahang from collecting heavy, even if you trade a kill for that, then it would have prevented the situation they're currently actually having to deal with right now, which is a fully stacked Dahang who has loads. I mean, just right there, like, he's got so much resources that even though the protection is now over, they are more than well equipped to deal with Ascent and continue the lead, which is exactly what's happening right now.
No, that's completely right. Of course, the only thing I'd probably say is to Fava, if you do burn the Mega or do burn the heavy, then at least get a little bit of damage done. So if you just burn it just completely outright, then it's not putting on the greatest of plays. But if you've got, like, if you're very weak in stack, I think it's a great play, like you mentioned, because he's quite weak at the time. He burns it, but at least that way he does have to deal with someone with heavy or mega like straight afterwards, because I know how much of a pain that can be, depending on the circumstances. But even now, look at this, the lead. I was just saying, you know what, if I get like a couple of power-ups, we're going to see the difference. And look at that difference as well. 9 kill gap now, and it's going to be a matter of time where if this next quad, it has to be in Ascent's favour. If not, then they're going to be in some serious trouble.
I mean, Ascent had essentially collected, you know, most of the power-ups here in this situation. They've been able to control it a lot more. And the one time they didn't, look at the difference. Like, Temp B get 1 power-up, and look at how in control they are now. Like, that's how you capitalize. Nice patience from Death Row.
No, you're completely right as well. Like, I don't like talking about the same topic or the same subject again and again, but it's a massive talking point. But look at it now. It's makes you do difference. Of course, Dahang now, the fact that they got those 2 kills straight off the bat, they're going to know exactly where they are on spawn. Of course, Dahang is going to go straight in, try and get as much work done with that quad, and he does. Of course, now, even though Brick did die, Defo is still running around to try and get away from much as he can. But on Molten Force, it is very easy to get away or to try and stabilize or stay away from that quad.
Yeah, you got a little bit more space to work with. You know, they're very much deliberately separating here. Brick drops. The question is, can Dewey defeat Death Row? And that, well, was going to be a 1v1. Actually, I don't think he quite clocked him. But yeah, there's a reason they split up there. You know, divide Dahang's attention. They do manage to win it, but yeah, Brick just gets sneezed out of that point. And he's going to get the heavy again. Oh, Dahang. I just want to check out his KD. Yeah, 24 kills. Dahang in 2v2 has such a knack of getting a ridiculous amount of frags.
Yeah, he just seems to be one of those guys, really, isn't it? Where it's like, how on earth does he do it? But with his ability, and he's such a good duelist as well. And the thing is that his style, like I say it before with some players, like in terms of their dueling play style, it can be quite a lot different compared to their TDM. If it's 2s or 4s, it can be very different. But Dahang seems to bring the same kind of play style, which is quite interesting. Like, he always bring that aggressive pressure, which you should do in, of course, in any game of Quake. But some people normally have that passive aggression where they kind of wait for the opportunity or wait for the chance a lot more. Like, you see players like Garpy do that quite a lot. But Dahang brings the same style in both plays, which is quite good. So, of course, when he goes to a TDM matchup like this, it'll be in his natural environment. But look at the score now, 47 to 36. Even though Defo gets that double, it could be too little too late here.
For sure. I mean, it was a great victory for him, that little sort of like double piece. You know, give him some confidence, if anything. But unfortunately, it's too late. There's only 2 kills left to go. There's no way Temp B are losing this map. They have to royally, royally screw up, and this has to be one of the best comebacks we've ever seen, to be honest with you. So I'm willing to say this is going to be map number 1. Let's check out Dahang and see if he can put that Dire Orb to good use. Dewey gets 1. They just need 1 more, and Death Row is between a rock and a hard place. Here comes Dewey up behind, and there we go. Easy money right there. They pick up the job, and that's going to be map number 1 for Temp B. Just 2 left for them to be our champions for this month's Go4.
Yeah, well played to Ascent for at least keeping things maybe close, you could say, for that first 2/3 of the game. But you could see that at that stage, I was talking about how they're only 2 or 3 kills behind, they could make something of this. But we looked away for a few seconds, came back, and they were 10 kills apart, just like that. And these kind of things happen. When you've got 2 players like that who collapse so quick and don't hesitate in certain scenarios and, you know, pretty much aim stars in their own right, it's very, very difficult to stop. But that was on quite a large map. If they play on, of course, or Blood One or Cut to Keep or anything like that next, we're going to see the true power or the capabilities of this squad.
I think that was, if anything, somewhat of a slow start too. I think the longer the map went on, it almost looked a little bit to me like the more comfortable Dahang and Dewey became as a pair. You know, I've got no doubt they've played together before. This isn't going to be the first time they've ever played together.
And that was their first series as well, of course. I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing to take. And for those that have just joined, if you've just joined us, this is a grand finals, yes. But Temp B, they weren't playing in the semi-finals because their competition in Chain and Waz had forfeited the tournament. So they actually haven't played any of their games today. And again, time zones and all that, there should be early morning games for the American teams. So, you know, you wake up in the morning, you jump in, you play some Quake tournaments. So they wouldn't have played really today, at least of all in tournament, which has a certain warm-up period. Anyone that's played in any tournament, the first games that you play in that day can almost be the hardest because you're a little bit rusty, a little bit limber. Got to warm up your hands, right? So that all kind of just puts that has an effect. That definitely has an effect. So whether the next 2 maps are going to be dominant, if the next 2 maps are essentially a stomp and very reminiscent to the end period of Molten Falls, my assumption will just be they had to warm up, and it's as simple as that. Or maybe Ascent can really bring it to them because they're not playing bad.
No.
I don't mean they're playing bad.
But it's a bit worried as well. It's the fact that if that was their first game and it was a warm-up and the kill deficit was that large, God forbid what's going to imagine on this map. Of course, not their map pick this time. We'll see if it makes any kind of difference, shape or form. But I think the only thing Ascent have is the fact that, like I mentioned before, it's only the chemistry, of course, Tempe don't have. Unless they do have that chemistry, and I don't know, it's the fact that they do play each other quite often. But then again, you know, we spoke about before, doing Garpy do play against Rafa and Hang quite a lot. So maybe there is a little bit of chemistry there in terms of playing together quite a lot. But because they scrim so much, of course, the Hang's going to know what Dewey's like and vice versa. So that could be a talking point in terms of how well they know each other in terms of their play styles and what to change and not to change.
I think it could be the benefits of playing both with and against certain people. You know, you can pick up these tendencies that you've played against someone a million times, so when you play with them, there's going to be certain things that you pick up regardless of the situation. Brick, Rocket jumps into absolute death there to Hang. Going in with Visor, and this is one of the variables, I believe. You know, normally when it was a Galena and Visor, if memory serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure it was mostly Rafa that would go with the Visor pick, who would then sort of coordinate and shot call and all that stuff. And it would be Hang that would pick a more supportive role. He would be the one going in for Strog. He'd be the one picking Galena. And you know, this is a sort of a complete flip on what would otherwise take place. I'd love to hear, I really would love to hear their in-game comms.
Yeah, I'd be quite curious as well to see exactly how they plan out their certain attacks and how they actually push in and, you know, the different things they say compared to Dahang and Rafa, because we hear Dahang and Rafa all the time when Rafa streams and they go through their scrim results and what they need to improve on and all that bits and pieces. But yeah, seeing it with another player entirely would be quite interesting. But both players choosing Visor is perfectly fine, that's understandable. Of course, with the piercing sight and the map location as well, it's obviously very difficult at best of times. So to plan their attacks, of course, they're both going to use it. And of course, with Galena, putting some of the terms of some of the portals or maybe some obscure areas which you don't really expect in unorthodox places. Again, it's another one as well, but right this second, Tempe are just running away with things. A slightly close start, but for them to get quad now straight off the bat, and they've only just picked up and still got plenty of time on top of that, as well as the heavy and the mega coming up next.
God, the stack.
Ascent are going to have a good time.
Gets out 1v1 by Brick though. LG versus Starter Machine Gun does carry a certain level of weight, I suppose. And there's the tactical suicide. Now it's Death Row. Lots of LG. Damage, but to be honest, he hasn't got much of it left. And oh no, turned around right as he could have potentially seen someone. And oh no, is he going to give up a kill anyway? Ooh, that quad achieved absolutely nothing. Lethal.
Yeah, he got pinned in a bad place. The corner he was in, he couldn't move back or forth, but because of the rocket and the bounce back, he couldn't actually physically move. Because the rocket was coming in front of him, he couldn't actually move from that corner. And I think they knew that as well. So they're probably laughing, saying, oh yeah, just let you know, Brick with quad is just, you're not hiding in the corner, it's getting pinned in that corner and couldn't move shape or form. But Brick does get a kill back, but 13-5 already within 3-minute mark. Getting pretty hairy.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant lead. And yeah, the totem just going to take out Brick as well. The totem just, I feel like as time goes on, we do start to see the totem get less and less kills. Naturally, as players start to become a little bit more aware, but it can still happen. It happens to the best of us, as you can see.
Well, this is the thing with Galena as well. Sometimes, you know, people go for the health and obviously the fact that it does so much damage against your opponents. But it's also very good to track where your opponents are. If someone doesn't have a visor, or they do have a visor, for example, they can save that piercing sight and go, well, if one member's there, they're obviously going to be within like 10-meter distance close by, which is also can be very handy. So there's multiple ways you can take advantage of these totems. But right this second in time, it's not really too much they can do here. They're just going to wait for that heavy, hopefully try and bait one of these players out. But they're not going to take the bait, and they will get that heavy for free.
Now checking out Dahang, I think he would have also have used his piercing sight there. And like he got hit by such an unreactionary rail, he would have been able to definitely know that was a piercing sight rail too. So as we go into power up, which has just appeared, yep, it's gonna be Ascent. Death Row has access to protection already out of there, but forced to run away. It looks to me like he didn't stand there for the purpose of getting kills. He wanted to run away from it. So he gets one kill. Needs a lot more than that if they want to make this comeback. Sick rail. Brick very weak though. And yeah, just forced back there. Oh, the totem. That one hurts so good.
I just love how Defro at that time, when he was picking up protection, he was the one getting pushed back, which is quite rare in some cases, but it doesn't matter anyway because he made up for it, getting those couple of kills, or at least getting a lot of damage done, flanking round from behind, as of course Brick was getting all the damage done much as possible. But other things, it's still stabilised, still 17-7. It's becoming a lot slower now in terms of exactly what's going on. Not really too many openings here. I think you saw Dahang there was trying to at least help him with the fight for the Heavy, but the Heavy's still coming up now. It's 2 seconds left. Of course, Dahang's going to say, see you later. I'm going to go straight for the minor one instead. And I don't blame him in all fairness. If he dropped down and tried to go for that Heavy, he may have burned it, but he wouldn't have got the trade.
To me, that just felt like a bonus kill, didn't it? Just one of those kills where, like, by all accounts, he just needed to get out of there. The fact that he was able to pick up a kill along the way was going to be a little bit of a bonus prize, but they get the 2v2 finally! A 2v2 unreturned. That's what Ascent need, but again, it's a small victory of many small victories. They don't have anywhere near the lead. And they're still 8 kills behind. Like, they just won a 2v2, but that's one of the first straight-up 2v2s they've won in 1.5 maps.
Yeah, that's, I'm not going to lie, very worrying at this stage. And Dewey is staying alive so well in so many different situations. He's trying to heal himself up a little bit there, which he does. Did get one rail off. He's trying to get another one.
God.
Sadly for him, Brick finally manages to take him out. Does get them both down, but still 7 kill deficit. So got a nice 7th one, so a 2 for 1 there. But it doesn't matter now. That Heavy's going to come in the next 5 seconds. Absolutely crucial if they try and take out the Hang. But they're just going to leave it, go for Dewey anyway. And of course, the Heavy has been picked up, but the Hang has left it. But this is the great thing as well. He left that Heavy to go help Dewey out. He'd rather go for that 2 for 0 trade instead of going for that Heavy.
No!
Commit suicide. Gives the the quad to Dewey anyway. But 10 HP, he needs to go for that Mega. He has to take that risk.
Ah, Death Row was up behind. That is one of the most unfortunate nail suicides I think I've ever seen. He got knocked into the jump pad while firing nails, which put him a little bit higher up than I think he was ready for. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't see his HP there. I thought he actually did it on purpose to give to Dewey there, but I think you were right there. I think he was just a little bit unfortunate to that extent. But even though Defro does have the quad, he's only going to get 1 kill, maybe 2, or maybe put enough damage on, which he doesn't actually. But
Dang can kill him here.
yeah, definitely. But in the end, not too much done. But as you can see, they've closed the gap just that little bit. But as I said, that rail 7 kill deficit once again.
That's a very frustrating kill to not get, actually. When you land so many rockets and you just felt they just didn't want to go near him. So you did no damage. And then when you finally go, all right, well, no, I'm point blank now. There's no way I'm going to miss. You get railed. That is such a block.
Oh, considering he had that quad as well, he missed 2 of those, 3 of those rockets actually. He wasn't even in splash range, which is a shame because, of course, Dewey's doing such a great job getting out of the way. And then just get railed like that. It's just, you know, it's not just dead in the armor, it's adding salt to the wound really now. And of course, we've got another kill here, so they're not too out of it yet. There is a 4 kill difference now.
There's
now it's
comeback
3,
right
so
here.
yeah, definitely.
This is definitely mounting a comeback. The question is going to be if they can actually sort of continue this. They've kind of been in this position before, and it has escaped them almost immediately. But I feel like it is just Ascent almost goes back into that sort of like pincer technique, you know, where they sort of like collapse on each other. I think that's what was happening massively at the beginning of this, and you know, in a very short space of time, they're actually doing the exact same thing back here. It all comes down to the pickups as well. Here comes that Mega. Right, it's coordinated, but obviously Hang catching the Mega, so he's going to coordinate that to Dewey. They're going to have the timing down on lock now. I think there's going to be a second fight towards Heavy taking place.
Oh, that was a 1v1 he needed to win, but he was in such a bad spot and such a low stack as well. I think that protection was going to go either way, but sadly for him, it's just in such a bad spot he couldn't do anything about that. Now, Dewey for that protection is going to be even worse for Wear. Now, of course, his plan is going to try and get as much damage as possible, as well as trying to increase that lead. And of course, the Heavy's already been taken. That Mega's coming up next, and they know that, but it looks, I'm not too sure if anyone's there. It looks like there is, but Brick was just standing there waiting to at least get the first rail shot to put him in play, but sadly for him, that wasn't the case. He got found out first instead.
Yep, surprise. Oh, that was a sick rail from Dewey. And the pincer, Brick, cannot survive both a Dahang LG and a rail at the same time. And it's kind of what we talked about. There was a comeback, and in just a short space of time, it has been snuffed entirely. And that, I think, is the strength of what these like more top-tier, absolute top-tier 2v2 teams can do. Is, you know, it's a level of just absolute dominance where you feel like you can make a comeback against them, and immediately, like, whatever mistakes they made before, they stop making it after a kill or 2. So you have to almost like mount a new strategy, because it's the adaptability. You know, adaptability. That's the big thing that Dahang in particular brings to the table in both duel and 2v2. It is so hard to stay ahead of Dahang in this game.
Yeah, speaking of Dahang, I'm pretty sure, no, sorry, from Dewey, I did see a little bit of BM there with the MG. I think I noticed, but just in case. But of course, what a rail there by Dewey now. It's just, you know, they're just going off on one again, pretty much. It's just remarkable stuff. And they're, these megas and the heavy pickups are just so well timed and planned and strategically executed in one way or another. And even now, 1 HP left. And of course, with that tome, he's going to get 50 back. Another health form to get back to 76. And right, just like that, and this Dewey's just going off on one right now, just going off on a tear. And one thing I was going to add as well, is just the fact that so far it seems like their chemistry wasn't an issue at all. Like, it seems like they're just playing standards, like I mentioned before the series started. They both got the serious fraggers, so much versatility, but now with that quad, we could be seeing the end of map 2 already.
I would almost agree with you right here. And it's like the longer the map is going, the more confident they're becoming. Like their rails are becoming cleaner, like their movement is faster. It's the whole thing. It's like a level of being, you know what I just said? I feel like they just needed to get warmed up in map number 1. I think that's pretty much exactly what we're seeing here right now. They look so confident together, minimal mistakes, sick rails, and almost every single power-up has been in their favor. Like, it's just perfect 2v2. Like, that was destruction. Destruction.
And they've got all his totems up as well, so he can increase his health to 175 every single time he likes. And by finally get his two totems taken out, and it's been quite a while as well. So considering the circumstances, they've just not had the opportunity to try and destroy him or look around the map for them. And it's 9 HP. Dewey's just been on his last legs on so many scenarios, and finally gets taken down. He's been on 1 HP, survives, 9 HP, barely survived even then. And it's, yeah, I think it's last call, I think, at this stage. 45 to 30 in favour of Temp B.
And how many of these rails that we're seeing land are the rails are being landed because an Ascent member is actually running away from one of Temp B as well? It's just, I feel like the manner of which the kills are actually starting to come through as well is that Ascent are retreating the entire time. They are completely out of control. They're just trying to survive at this point. They're not trying to get pickups or power-ups or whatever. They're just trying to not die. And it's unfortunate. 3 kills left and Temp B are going to win this map. Definitely this will be a 2-0. And wow. 2 kills away, give us a couple more sick rails, and this is going to be a done and dusted map.
Yeah, it's not even just a couple of rails. It's like at least a dozen, just been absolutely obscure. And it's, you're absolutely right. That first map was clearly just a warm-up. Even though the kill deficit was huge, it didn't seem to matter in case that kind of scenario. But 49 to 32 here. They're going to try and get one more. Dewey's going to try and finish the job, which he does. 50 to 32, and now 2-0 in favour of Temp B. But let's be honest, kind of what we expected in that favour. And look at that, though. Dewey, 29 and 17.
Dewey
nice
went ham.
KD.
Dewey absolutely went ham from that display right there. And to be honest, as we go into our third and what very well could be a final map, I'd be concerned if I was Ascent, because it's pretty much what I thought, which was there was a slow start on Molten Falls, and about halfway through, it almost feels like they woke up. And that's not even a pun. Like, it's morning for them, right? It's the morning for the guys. Maybe not so much anymore. It's been a few hours. Depends on how much of a pro gamer you are. But
this is it.
To be honest, the second map just seemed like dominance throughout. And there was that one moment where there was what could have been a comeback, but that was only because they were like 4 kills behind rather than a million. So as we go into the final map, well, I say final map, not speaking too soon. What could be final map?
It's going to be a reverse sweep now, maybe. You just fixed it.
It's a tall order, though, isn't it? It's a very big ask as a team. You know you're against Dahang, you're against Dewey. You know the legacy these players have and their results. You're in 2v2. You are against one half of the world champion roster with Dahang in the lineup, and Dewey, who has seen his fair share of 2v2 success as well. You have no choice now but to reverse 3-0 this team. You have to win every map.
Not happening.
That's hard, man. That's difficult. But I was going to say prediction, but you've basically already given me it, right? You don't think it's possible?
You heard my sigh, really, I think. It's like, from those rails and everything like that, it's not just obviously about how great are the rail go and everything like that. It's just, you know, their movement, their coordination, their power-up pickups, their setups, their plays, how they control the mega and heavy to a point where they time it so well that, you know, they separate it to make sure they get it every single time. And the fact that it's just so clean and so smooth, and it's only the second game. God knows what would have happened if they met them in the grand final if they actually played that first series. It's actually quite worrying, but this third map, it's their map pick, and I'm sure that, you know, with their map pick, I don't think it actually even matters to pair what map it's going to be at this point, because, like I said, the gameplay is so smooth and they're playing at such a high caliber. I don't think the Ascent have much of an answer. They can maybe try and tone things down a bit and try and play at their pace, but the problem is these two players doing the hang, they're going to force them to make mistakes. They're not going to wait for them to make the first mistake.
Exactly, and you know, we definitely sort of saw shades by the end of Ruins, where they just seemed a little bit like flustered, almost like giving up the ghost, just getting completely collapsed on, and that can be very, very scary. But what's also scary is Dahang's Strog. This is the absolute greatest Strog in the game, you know, by a clear margin. Dahang he quite literally invented this champion, so I'm actually going to wonder if this will just be an extra thorn in a sense side. They do have a wonderful selection. I believe this should be Brick on Keel. Yep, Brick has had, you know, pretty much the strongest Keel of the day. You know, the second he made a change to this champion, he started seeing some better results, especially when we're on Crooked Keep and the like. Very, very weak indeed. And then we also have Dewey though. The thing is, Dewey's now going on Keel as well. And this is the thing, is that quite a lot of the players that we're seeing here are very, very, very strong on the champions that you're about to see in the map.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting pick, and yeah, after this game, I think they're going to wish they actually banned Strog, especially on this map as well. And it's, yeah, very interesting picks. Of course, you've got Keel and Ghislaine on the other side, and of course, we're not going to see any visors or anything like that. We've seen a visor being played before, but I said it at the beginning where, in the previous series, but I don't think it's going to matter too much with visor. Yeah, sure, fair enough, you have a slight advantage of planning an attack for maybe the power or some other kind of scenario for like collapsing, but even then, it's so small, you can kind of hear exactly what's going on here, there, and after. But you know, even then he changed from Visor to another champion anyway. But I think these are very good picks considering the circumstances.
Immediate turnaround from Pika. Normally that'd be such a wonderful angle you could hit when someone misses a rail, but when you just get that extra bit of added mobility, it's just the game awareness from Dahang. Knowing they've gone through the teleporter, misses a rail, it's likely they're going to try and push the advantage and punish him for that during the cooldown. But the second you've got Pika, you can pretty much undo that work and give them this extra opponent they have to deal with. It's such a dangerous combination at this level of play. Dewey out, ooh, out Pineapple's Brick. That's a good one. Now here comes the quad damage about to spawn. Death Row, can he win this 2 versus 1? Looking maybe unlikely. Yeah, Dahang does survive with plenty of stack left too. Watch out for these Pineapples as well. Oh no, you would almost think maybe he would fly into quad, but it's not meant to be, and now Dewey has plenty of ability left to go. He's got loads of LG. He has everything he needs to do. Oh my god, just mass damage.
It's going to be one of those finals, isn't it? It's going to get to that point now. And of course, you saw earlier, the fact that when one of them went straight for the quad damage and then not actually try and kill his opponent, I think what his plan was, but he knew he was going to die, and he thought at least if you try and throw the quad off the map in some way, then at least that way, that'll give him a little bit of leadway. But there's absolutely no leadway at all. Dahang's going to abuse his, his quad damage left, right, and center. And look at that, straight away, another 2 kills. And just in time as well, because obviously it's just been depleted, but even then, the massacre's still continuing. And look at this teamwork. For 2 players who scream all the time, but never play with each other, normally against each other, it's fantastic.
Oh, destroyed. Doesn't even need the, doesn't even need the kamikaze.
He did it for you.
Just that 20 damage shot. That's all we needed. That's how weak Galena was right there. Dahang's still alive. Barely, but just do as much damage as you can. The work here is done. He got so many frags already.
I was going to say, this could be a sense chance to try and make some kind of comeback here, but, you know, the kill frame has been it's been increased so much compared to what I saw, like, literally about 30 seconds ago. It's been absolutely unreal. But, of course, you know, Dewey's going to jump off anyway, and he's just trying to, like, stay alive for the next round. Or spawns, but therefore, managed to stay alive, not too bad, but one of his totems will disappear. But, of course, as you saw it with that Strog Billy, it's going to get taken down straight off the bat. 19 to 11 now, and it's, you know, it's that 3-0 is looking pretty close here.
It's looking likely to me with just how this is going. And this is the first time we've seen them play on a small map. In this matchup too, it's been too large before that. Death Row, it would be suicide to push this one down. But Dewey, understanding that, just forces the fight upon him. He knows that Death Row is too weak to take the fight.
But remember, that protection is coming up in 10 seconds, and they're not even a good enough stack at the moment. It's a 1v1 now, and Death Row's only on 31 HP, finally gets taken down, and that's protection will, of course, be taken by Dahang. And now his stack's actually not too bad, it's pretty decent, but so he's definitely got the ability to charge around, at least try and go around. But picking the stacks, he's okay.
So right there, the second he got heavy, this has now become an unkillable Strog. Every kill he gets will give him the vial, and he's just going to simply just collect that health. If he wants to, almost just got 2 kills with the Pika. It used to be, actually, there's been quite a progression here. I remember when we just first started seeing Dahang use Pika, it was kamikaze only. Now we're starting to see a little bit of optimization, right? Projectiles first, kamikaze after, and it just completely allows you to get so much uncontested damage. Dahang has just been on a killing spree so far.
Yeah, Dahang's has been playing out of his mind, and yeah, it should be illegal how well he's playing. It's just been absolutely off the charts, and oh, there's so much to say, but even then, what can you say? 26 and 15 now, and there's not really so much they can do. Of course, they're so deflated from that last game and so demoralised, but it's just going to continue on from there. And even though Dahang's doing it for a laugh now, managed to get even more damage done there. Huge chunk for Dewey to maybe try and clean up, but I think Dewey knows that he's not in a good enough spot just due to the fact that he will get 1v2'd, and he's going to wait for Dahang to come by and give him a slight hand.
It's really bad that you've given me the option to observe, by the way, because all I'm doing is watching Dahang.
I don't, to be fair, actually...
That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do is watch Dahang.
I probably would have said the same in all fairness. Like, with his ability with Strog and stuff, like, I'm more than happy to watch him for days. Some of the stuff he's actually done for last couple of games has just been hilarious in terms of the fact that he gets so much abuse out of it, and there's nothing they can do.
Just looking for that rail angle, but a little bit too tight. And oh no, Brick kind of body blocked that totem a little bit. We can actually, we'll swap over to Brick and see if he can survive this fight. He's so weak. And he needs to do something about that now. He's not really equipped, and that's kind of what I was talking about. He's not really equipped to take this fight as we now go into quad damage. Dewey's very weak indeed. I think that's why he's actually trying to push out. He understands that Dahang can kind of sit on this power-up location, while Dewey now sits back and tries to maybe spring a trap if Brick were to go in that direction. Dahang obviously has cleaned up instead. Now he has a quad damage, and in a sense, the fear has been put in them. They haven't even tried to challenge that one. Brick gets a wonderful pineapple. He gets Dewey as well. Excellent job, but he's so weak. They just need to breathe on him at this stage. Dahang might even finish him off. He can't go for Mega. It's too much of a risk. Oh no, Pika! Look out!
Oh, they did manage to get a Mega in the end.
Oh my god.
Oh, what a turn of events. And Dahang's got quad anyways. Look at that time as well. At least 10 seconds of that minimum just to have a bit of fun and just try and finish the job. But completely expected nonetheless. He's going to try and get another one here. Death row gets cleaned up nicely. And yeah, this is just a massacre right now.
They can definitely hear him coming. Brick springs the trap, but looks like he's only got a tri-bolt in his arsenal. And that's not going to be enough to deal with the Dahang, who has all of this resources available. Surprises Brick. There should be a guaranteed kill. Brick's going to go down. The Vial to keep Dahang nice and healthy. And that Vial in 2v2 is so good. It is such an amazing passive that just prevents Strog from dying. And there it is. Overstack and the Mega. Let's go.
Yeah, that Mega bait was just absolutely ridiculous. He could have easily gone for that, and then, of course, Brick would have just run away. But, of course, Dahang just baited it so hard that he knew he was just going to stand there staring at the Mega, maybe think if he didn't go for it or not, and managed to bring him in, which is a fantastic play. And even at this caliber and the speed, he's still doing such good strategic aggression here. There's nothing they can do. But look at that, 39 to 19. Completely different from what we thought. Of course, I said did quite well earlier. We knew that his team, Temp B, were going to be heavy favourites. But yeah, this is just a slaughter right now.
The problem is, the longer these, I think, very dominant maps can go, and the more consecutive they go as well, the much harder it can be to recover. You know, if you lose map after map after map, you know, we've all been in this position where you lose a map so dominantly and you go into another one and lose again. It's hard to stay motivated, right? It's hard to stay in a frame of mind where you believe that you can continue to win. And rather than like a whole, you know, why even try at this point? It's so far down. Not saying that's what's happened to Ascent, but it definitely feels to me like they are struggling a lot more now than they were in the first map. And that's a combination of them just being more warmed up, and it's just continuing the snowball, and they are struggling to deal with that snowball effect.
No, I completely agree. Like, you know, in most teams, they're probably thinking, well, what's for dinner right now? Or in the States, what's for lunch or whatever. But yeah, at this stage, they have to deal. Yeah, what's for breakfast? Yeah. Like that pun there. But of course, you know, yeah, there's nothing much they can do. The only thing I can think of is the fact that, of course, with that protection, they're going to have to play for time because they're going to need these quads and potentials as much as they can, or try and keep away from this heavy and Mega. But the way the speed and the pace Dewey and Dahang are playing right now, there's absolutely nothing they can do. With that Strog as well, it's just going to be even more of a massacre. It's nothing really they can do. There's some options, but it's way, way too bleak, and it's way too much of a percentage chance for them to actually try and make some kind of comeback from this.
I kind of feel like we reached the point of no return a few minutes ago. This is basically just going to be a matter of Temp B continuing what they're already doing.
Yeah.
And oh my god, the kamikaze, he's going to, oh my god. And wait, he's right near him, he's going to finish him off. Oh my god, and then a direct rocket as well. I'm surprised Death Row even had stack left to win that fight. He cycled the whole map with that Pika.
I think that's the longest peak I've ever seen, actually, because I've seen some peaks in my time, but that was definitely one of the longest. That went, like, almost half across the map, and, oh, nice little pickup then. Of course, yeah, like I mentioned before, they're knocking on Death's door here. 46 to 26 now. Very, very little they can do, and, of course, with only be 5 minutes 20 on the clock left, it's just basically saying their grace, and ending things here in a nice little 3-0 sweep.
I think so. Brick's going to get clipped, and Dewey, such a sort of really supportive player in 2v2. His champion picks have always kind of reflected that, the ability to just go utility for days, but combine it with sick accuracy anyway, and just a really nice amount of game sense. The Pika comes through again, forcing a fight, which they definitely don't want to take. Ascent, can Dahang get this 2v1? They have quad damage, but they're so weak, both of which are railable, and Dewey just needs to come in and save the day. Misses the rail, which is going to give them a little bit of a lifeline, but at what cost? They're so far behind. They've got a couple of kills, but they're so far behind, I just don't know if it's possible, Harry. They've got quad, but at this point, who cares?
Yeah, it's definitely not possible. It's sadly for them, their pace of game is way too slow. But speaking of quad and making abuse of it, no abuse at all. They actually got taken out. Dewey managed to get quad themselves. Going to clean up here and end things very nicely. So a very, very comfortable 3-0. And, you know, we questioned how they look. Sorry, actually, before I talk about the question, of course, the stats here. Got 26 and 14 for Dahang, Dewey 24 and 18. And to be fair, on the opposite team, some heavy neg bombs, but then again, it's to be expected. It's very similar on the outcome. But the question I was going to say is the fact that we're talking about the chemistry and both being from different teams and different outskirts. But like I said before, they've got the fragging ability. I'm sure they're fine. As long as they keep up the aggression and the instinct, they'll be perfectly fine. And as you saw there, nice little 3-0.
If you play enough 2v2, you know, when you've got as much mechanical skill as both Dahang and Dewey do, this is not a surprise to me. You know, I really do think this was a predicted result. And after the first map, they clearly got into more of their flow, and it's a flow that we expected to see from two absolute world-class Quake Champions players. Now, congratulations to Temp B. You will be our champions for North America in the Quake Go4, and it goes to show that, you know, you don't need the same lineup to see success. You know, Rafa wasn't in this lineup. Currently in Europe, actually practicing for the PGL LAN for Duel, which meant that we had Dewey and Dahang taking the reins instead, and they saw just as much success in a Go4 sense of the word. GG's for Ascent for getting as far as you did. You know, Brick was a pickup that definitely, I think, contributed towards this result, and I can't wait to see what else they can achieve throughout the year. You know, that this is definitely not the final piece of 2v2 action. There's plenty of online stuff and offline as far as I'm aware. We'll see what happens there. And for now, Temp B are going to be the men of the hour. So that was Maestro Gaming CIS, who took the crown in Europe. That was a Maestro team kill. EU got second place. And it was Ascent versus Temp B for our Grand Finals of America, of which Temp B are our champions for this month as well. That's basically all we have time for here, folks. Thank you very much for watching this Go4 for another month. Just to remind any of you that have joined and wonder what the Go4 is, it's weekly qualifiers, of which it's 2v2, and then we finish things with a monthly finals where you play for some cash. So all of our teams here that made top 4 got some money. Obviously, the Grand Finalists, it goes sort of more top-heavy downwards, as you would expect. So not a bad chunk of change for a day of Quake Champions, that's for sure. If you want to get signed up, just go to our ESL Play. I believe it's just esl.pm/Quake Champions, I believe, or Quake. Actually, the link itself has escaped my brain. But just go to the ESL Play website for Quake Champions for all the information you need for North America and Europe. And who knows, maybe we'll see you in our next cup, or you can just get involved and play the teams that you saw today. Before we finish things off, Harry, any last words for you?
Yeah, the NA side, kind of what we expected, kind of what we predicted, and with the E side, it's nice to have so many game things and some close series. So yeah, and of course with the next event coming up, it'll be interesting to see how things pan out. Well,
with everything said and done, that's all we had time for this month's Go4. We'll see you guys in a month's time with our next Go4 finals. GG's to Maestro, GG's to Temp B. Thank you all very much for watching at home. We love you very, we love you very much. I said that way too fast. See you in our next tournament. I'm going to go home now. I'm going to go to sleep. It's been a long day. Bye.